Welcome to AI Otaku Studio. Like, subscribe, and enjoy this video. Chapter 1 Warning: 80,000 years old Blue Silver King detected. Fasinuo Province. Craftsman Soul Village. Behind the village, a handsome little boy with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes was constantly swinging the wooden sword in his hand, his gaze incredibly firm. Zyro Tian, why are you still practicing your sword here? The spirit master who helps with awakenings has already arrived. If you miss it, you'll have to pay to find someone to awaken it yourself. At this moment, an anxious voice came from the side. Village Chief Grandpa, so fast, then let's go now. Zyro Tian put away his wooden longsword and came to the village chief's side, supporting him. You brat, why are you so indifferent about spirit awakening? The village chief said, frustrated. Zyro Tian said indifferently, Village Chief Grandpa, it's no use for me to be anxious. Awakening a spirit depends on bloodline. I'm just an orphan nobody wants. What my spirit is doesn't matter. This sword in my hand is enough. Saying that, a bright light flashed in Zyro Tian's eyes. Oh right, Village Chief Grandpa, didn't you say before that you'd give me a longsword after my spirit awakens? I don't want to keep using a wooden sword. It always feels like something is missing. The village chief smiled helplessly. All right, I'll give it to you after your spirit awakens. I've already prepared it for you. He also wasn't sure why Zyro Tian had a special fondness for longswords since childhood. He only hoped he could awaken a decent spirit. Most villagers in Craftsman Soul Village awaken spirits related to forging. He wondered what Zyro Tian would awaken. Why was Zyro Tian so indifferent to this awakening ceremony? That's because he was a transmigrator. No, he should be called a reincarnator. He awakened his past life's memories as soon as he could remember. In his previous life, besides reading various web novels, he loved practicing swords and collecting various famous swords. It could be said he had a special fondness for the way of the sword. Unfortunately, his previous life was the so-called Age of Dharma Decline. When he learned he had been reborn into the world of Douluo Continent, he didn't know whether to be happy or sad. He was happy that this was a world where one could cultivate, but sad that this was a world that depended on bloodline. Spirits are inherited according to bloodline. Ordinary people who want to have higher innate spirit power can only rely on mutation. This couldn't help but make Zyro Tian a little disappointed. However, he suddenly remembered the few geniuses in Douluo Continent who went against the current, and the one who impressed him the most was Jai Juchen. Jai Juchen only had innate spirit power of rank 3, but he forcefully cultivated to title Douluo by relying on his sword intent comprehension. Why couldn't Zyro Tian try it? So ever since he could remember, he pestered Village Chief Grandpa to make him a wooden sword. Every day, besides practicing his sword, he practiced his sword. He even kept it with him while eating and sleeping. Therefore, he wasn't very concerned about what his spirit was, or even if he had a system. After all, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Soon, led by the village chief, Zyro Tian arrived in front of a house specially built by the village for spirit awakening. Spirit Master, everyone is here. Thank you for your trouble. The village chief smiled at the Spirit Master. Zyro Tian looked. Oh, isn't this a coincidence? It's Su Yuntao, the blind Douluo from the original work. Su Yuntao said somewhat impatiently, all right, no need for pleasantries. After I help you awaken your spirits, I still have to rush to the next village. All right, children, you all follow the Spirit Master inside to awaken your spirits. I hope you can awaken a good spirit. The village chief didn't dare to neglect, and quickly said to the children who needed to awaken their spirits. Inside the room. Children, no matter what happens later, don't be afraid. My name is Su Yuntao, a 26th rank spirit grandmaster, and I am your guide. Su Yuntao tried to appear as gentle as possible, and took out 6 black spherical stones and a crystal ball from his bag. Then Su Yuntao arranged the 6 black stones into a hexagon, and motioned for the first child to stand inside. Sickle spirit, no spirit power. Hammer spirit, innate rank 1 spirit power. Nail spirit, no spirit power. As the awakening ceremony progressed, it finally came to the last one, Zyro Tian. At Su Yuntao's signal, Zyro Tian took a deep breath and stood inside the hexagonal array. Although he had appeared very calm before, at this moment, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Although he had already thought of a backup plan for himself, who wouldn't hope the spirit and innate spirit power could be better? That way, cultivation would be a little easier later on. Then, under Su Yuntao's guidance, a rusty iron sword suddenly appeared in Zyro Tian's right hand, and as if sensing something, Zyro Tian subconsciously said, "Sword 15." Su Yuntao looked at Zyro Tian's iron sword and frowned, saying, "Is this rusty sword called 15? That's a really strange name. Since it's a sword spirit, there's a high probability of it having spirit power. Let's test the spirit power first." When he said the last sentence, Su Yuntao's tone carried a hint of excitement. He had already helped several villages awaken spirits during this time, but without exception, none of them had spirit power. However, due to their bloodline, commoners had a lower probability of having spirit power, which he could understand, but it was still somewhat disappointing. But Craftsman's Soul Village was different. Every year he came to help awaken spirit power, at least one person would have spirit power, which was already quite good. Zyro Tian looked at the rusty sword in his hand. Was it the sword 15 he remembered? If so, even if his innate spirit power was a bit low, he might still have a chance to defy. Forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Moreover, Zyro Tian could clearly feel that sword 15 had sentience. It had to be said, was it truly the sword spirit of Chunyuan's sword? He didn't expect that he would awaken such a special tool spirit. No, Zyro Tian thought this could be considered a wisdom spirit, right? Just like the wisdom spirit ring, invented by the 10,000-year heavenly dream Eye Silkworm 10,000 years later. After all, among the sword spirits he was familiar with, even Sword Douluo Chenzin's 7-kill sword couldn't be as sentient as Sword 15. If this was truly that Sword 15, then the most fundamental difference between him and other tool spirits was that Sword 15 could move on its own without him deliberately controlling it, but other tool spirits could not. Of course, regarding this, he needed to try it after the awakening ceremony ended. Thinking this, Zyro Tian also placed his hand on the crystal ball. Innate Spirit Power Rank 5. This somewhat surprised Su Yuntao. He didn't expect an inconspicuous iron sword to give Zyro Tian rank 5 spirit power. When he awakened his lone wolf spirit, he only had rank 2 spirit power. As for this result, Zyro Tian was already very satisfied. Innate spirit power rank 5 wasn't bad, and it happened to be a sword spirit. He could try to cultivate well and see if he could cultivate sword intent like Jaijuchen. Ding! Congratulations to the host for awakening the spirit. The system is binding. Ding! Warning, there is an 80,000-year-old blue-silver king nearby. Please evacuate quickly, otherwise there will be a life-threatening danger. Zyro Tian. Holy cow, is that true? Zyro Tian's vigilance instantly heightened, and at the same time he was a little confused. Blue-silver kings generally guard the blue-silver ancestral land, so why would one appear in their small village? System, is there any way? Ding! No, but the host doesn't need to worry. Blue-silver kings are generally gentle and won't attack proactively. Of course, if you're unlucky, then I'll just have to find another host. Zyro Tian immediately felt that this system was really unreliable, but he always felt that what the system said was problematic. There was no way their village could have a blue-silver king, although there was a lot of blue-silver grass. P.S. Please give recommendation tickets, please collect, please give monthly tickets, please continue reading ... Regarding the spirit settings, please be kind with your words and skip it. Don't criticize me ... Chapter 2, Sword 15, Beginning to Master the Sword. Afterwards, Su Yuntao led everyone out of the room, looked at the village chief, and said with a smile, "Village chief. Your village has awakened quite a few spirit masters with spirit power this year, a total of 3. One of them even has innate level 5 spirit power. Although his spirit is just a rusty iron sword, it's still quite good." Then Su Yuntao looked at Zyro Tian with a smile and asked, "Little fellow, are you interested in joining Spirit Hall and studying at the Spirit Hall Academy?" Su Yuntao extended an invitation to Zyro Tian. As a commoner, he knew that Spirit Hall was definitely the most suitable force for commoner spirit masters. When the village chief saw Su Yuntao's gaze fall on Zyro Tian, he immediately understood. It seemed Zyro Tian had also awakened a spirit that he liked. Although it was just a rusty sword, due to his innate level 5 spirit power, becoming a spirit king wouldn't be an issue if he cultivated normally. He himself was also a spirit master, and knew that spirits would undergo some changes, more or less, after attaching spirit rings. Moreover, he was also a blacksmith, so he naturally understood that Zyro Tian's sword spirit would eventually have a day when it wasn't a rusty sword. Attaching spirit rings had a certain chance of changing the appearance of a spirit, and even strengthening it. Zyro Tian, what do you think? The village chief was not in a hurry to have Zyro Tian join Spirit Hall. Every year, spirit masters with spirit power who awakened in their village, as long as their innate spirit power was above level 2, were basically invited by Su Yuntao. He was accustomed to it. However, because most of the spirits awakened in their village were related to forging, many people ultimately chose to study at a nearby academy and then returned to the village's blacksmith shop to work after graduating. After a moment of silence, Zyro Tian showed Su Yuntao an innocent smile and said, "Spirit Master, I want to see the world outside first. As for Spirit Hall, I'll go when I have the chance later." Zyro Tian's refusal surprised Su Yuntao a little, but he couldn't say anything. He thought that Zyro Tian was indeed a bit too naive, yearning for the world outside, but the world outside wasn't that friendly to commoners. Never mind, after Zyro Tian hits a wall, he might go to Spirit Hall Academy on his own. A little tempering outside wouldn't hurt. Then Su Yuntao bid farewell to the old village chief and headed to the next village. Zyro Tian indeed didn't want to enter Spirit Hall too early. He was more curious about what this system was all about, and if he had the chance, he also wanted to meet the people of this world. Douluo was commonly known as the continent of love. In his previous life, besides collecting various famous swords, he also enjoyed admiring beautiful women. Hey. The old village chief also respected Zyro Tian's choice and said, "In that case, our village's work-study student slot will be yours. 3 months from now, you can go to Notting Academy near the village to study." Zyro Tian hesitated and said, "Grandpa village chief, wouldn't it be bad to just give the slot to me? There are other people in the village who have awakened their spirit and spirit power." "Hahaha, who told you our village only has one work-study student slot? It's just that Notting Academy only has one work-study student slot. All right, you don't need to worry about this. Come, follow me to the blacksmith shop. Didn't you want a long sword?" Saying that, the village chief looked at Su Yuntao again and bowed slightly to him gratefully. "Thank you, Spirit Master, for coming tirelessly every year to awaken spirits for our children." Ding, it has been detected that there is an 80,000-year-old blue silver king near the host. Please handle it with care. Zyro Tian also followed the village chief to the blacksmith shop. Along the way, this crazy system kept broadcasting that there was a blue-silver king nearby, but all he saw along the way were common blue-silver grass. Where was the trace of a blue-silver king? Zyro Tian shook his head, annoyed, not wanting to bother with it. Suddenly, he accidentally stepped on a blue-silver grass. Not paying much attention, he directly moved his foot. Blue-silver grass was like weeds in his previous life, making people unable to pay attention to them at all. But at this moment, the system's voice suddenly rang out. Holy crap, the host actually stepped on an 80,000-year-old blue-silver king and killed it. The system is greatly shocked, and a critical reward has been triggered. Reward: host's comprehension has been improved, and innate spirit power has been raised to level 10. Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian looked bewildered. Was this system really that crazy? He couldn't help but glance behind him at the blue-silver grass he had just stepped on. Wasn't it just ordinary blue-silver grass? How could he have the ability to step on and kill a blue-silver king? Even he, who had read many web novels in his previous life, was confused. He had reason to suspect that this system was just giving him a reward in a roundabout way because it thought his talent was too poor. After all, he was someone with a system. If the host was too bad, wouldn't the system lose face? Since the system was so proactive, he would reluctantly accept this reward. A typical case of getting a good deal and still acting modest. Blacksmith shop. The village chief handed the long sword he had forged to Zyro Tian and said with a smile, "Zyro Tian, this is the iron sword you've always wanted. It's made from the best ore available in the village. However, I was thinking, since your spirit is also a sword, then this iron sword." Before the village chief could finish speaking, Zyro Tian snatched the iron sword, protectively saying, "Grandpa village chief, since you said this iron sword was forged for me, you can't go back on your word, even if my spirit is a sword." All right, I didn't say I wouldn't give it to you. Oh, by the way, Zyro Tian, can you show me your spirit? Zyro Tian nodded, flipping his right hand. 15 come out. The next moment, a dark long sword appeared in Zyro Tian's right hand, but Zyro Tian noticed that the rust on sword 15's body had disappeared. Could this be due to the improvement in innate spirit power, which also improved the spirit's quality? Oh, Zyro Tian, is your spirit called Sword 15? What a strange name. Didn't that spirit master say it was a rusty sword? Why don't I see any rust? That's strange. Then Sword 15 in Zyro Tian's hand even politely bowed to the old village chief, its blade swaying softly from side to side, appearing inexplicably comical. This somewhat shocked the old village chief. He had been a spirit master and blacksmith for so long, and this was the first time he had seen such a spiritual spirit. Zyro Tian, your spirit seems to be very extraordinary. There's a feeling I can't quite describe. The old village chief's eyesight was still quite sharp. He believed Zyro Tian's spirit should be quite special. And now, Zyro Tian was even more certain that his spirit was very likely Sword 15, the sword intent transformed from the Xunyuan sword in his past life's memory. Zyro Tian then smiled at the old village chief, saying nothing. Soon 3 months had passed. Led by the village chief, Zyro Tian finally arrived at the entrance of Notting Academy. During these 3 months, he also spent his days practicing swordsmanship in the back mountain. When his spirit power was abundant, he used Sword 15. When his spirit power was exhausted, he used the iron sword given by the village chief. And he didn't know if it was because of the comprehension improvement rewarded by the system, but he very easily cultivated sword intent, and could even condense sword kai with his fingers and shoot it out. This made him feel a bit surprised, because besides swinging his sword, he didn't know too many other sword moves, yet he had cultivated sword intent first. Was this sequence a bit off? The gate guard looked at Zyro Tian's work-study student certificate and didn't say much, letting him in directly. Zyro Tian thought, this is how it should be. Why would there be so many face-slapping scenarios? A gate guard is just an ordinary person. How would he dare to provoke a future spirit master? As expected, Zyro Tian was assigned to the work-study student dormitory, room 7. As soon as he entered, everyone in the dormitory focused their gaze on him. One person said with a somewhat arrogant expression, "You must be the new student. My name is Wang Sheng. We have a rule in room 7. If you want to come in, you have to fight the dorm leader." Chapter 3, the system goes crazy again, sword control. Zyro Tian smiled. He could actually understand the rules of dorm 7 quite well. After all, the working students were oppressed by the noble students all year round, and the winner would be the dorm leader, the one who took charge. Zyro Tian casually placed his iron sword and package aside, then said indifferently, "No problem, how do we compete? With spirits?" Wang Sheng was also slightly stunned. Was this new student a bit too reckless? He frowned and said, "No need to use spirits. You've probably just awakened yours, right? Let's just compare our fist and foot skills." Zyro Tian nodded indifferently and said, "Then let's begin." 2.5 minutes later, Wang Sheng was directly pinned to the floor by Zyro Tian. "How about it? My fist and foot skills aren't bad, are they?" Because of his sword practice over the years, his physical fitness was excellent. Dealing with Wang Sheng, a spirit master without a spirit ring, was easy for him. Even without using sword intent, it was still a simple victory. "I admit defeat," Wang Sheng said unwillingly. The other few people also looked at Zyro Tian in surprise. Someone even asked, "Zyro Tian, is the spirit you awakened a beast spirit? Otherwise, why is your physical fitness so strong?" Zyro Tian shook his head and said, "No, my spirit is a sword, with innate spirit power of rank 5. It's just that I've been exercising since I was young, so my physical fitness is different from ordinary people." Saying that, Zyro Tian also pulled up Wang Sheng from beneath him, patted the dust off his clothes, and smiled. "Sorry, I was a bit heavy-handed just now. This is my first time fighting someone, so I couldn't quite control my strength." Wang Sheng gave a wry smile, then said, "It's fine. From now on, you're the boss of our Dorm 7. This is the rule we've set for Dorm 7. He was genuinely convinced by Zyro Tian's strength. Zyro Tian smiled and accepted, but suddenly, the system's voice sounded in his mind again. "Ding, warning, the god of slaughter, Tang Hao, the plain master of Douluo Star, has been detected hiding within 1,000 meters. Please quickly escape, host. Your strength difference is too great to avoid life-threatening danger." Ding, warning, the God King Tang San is approaching this location. Please, host, do not cause Tang San's displeasure, otherwise, you will face a path to death. Ding, warning, the Shura sword scabbard Zyro Wu is approaching this location. Please, host, do not make any excessive moves. Do not harm Zyro Wu, otherwise, it will provoke the Tang God King's wrath, and you will face a path to death. Alas, poor host, you've just awakened your spirit and encountered so many big shots. It seems your life is over. This system is preparing to run away tilde. Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian expressed his extreme confusion. After 3 months, why was his system going crazy again? Moreover, at this point in time, when did Tang Hao become the plain master of Douluo Star? Tang San and Zyro Wu were still just children. Where did they get god positions from? Just as Zyro Tian was pondering the system's intentions, a thin, black-haired little boy in simple clothes walked in through the doorway. Hello everyone, my name is Tang San, and I'm a working student enrolling today. Tang San first politely greeted everyone in Dorm 7. After all, it was their first meeting, and he wanted to leave a good impression. Moreover, he was in a good mood, having just acknowledged a theoretical grandmaster as his teacher. Wang Sheng spoke first. You're Tang San, right? We have a rule in Dorm 7. If you want to enter, you have to fight the dorm leader to test your strength. Tang San was also a bit surprised. This rule was indeed strange. He said indifferently, then who is the dorm leader? Come on. In Tang San's eyes, these were just a bunch of little kids. He had the Tang sect's secret skills, unique skills, which he had cultivated to an introductory level over the past 6 years. He didn't believe any of these people could defeat him. This was his confidence as a member of the Tang sect. Zyro Tian looked at Tang San with a half-smile. My name is Zyro Tian, and I'm the new dorm leader of Dorm 7. We're both new students, so how about this? We can use our spirits, how's that? Tang San also said somewhat unexpectedly, you're that confident. I have innate full spirit power, you know. Wang Sheng said in great shock, what, you actually have innate full spirit power? Then what is your spirit? None of their working students had innate full spirit power. The highest innate spirit power among them was Zyro Tian's, at innate rank 5. He never expected someone with innate rank 10 to come now. Could it be some incredibly powerful spirit? Wang Sheng felt that their working students were about to rise. Tang San said calmly, blue-silver grass. Silence. After a brief silence in Dorm 7, a burst of loud laughter erupted. Ha 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 ha, are you sure you're not joking? It's well known that blue-silver grass spirits cannot have innate spirit power exceeding rank 1. Tang San seemed to have anticipated this situation, but he wasn't annoyed. Instead, he said calmly, there are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters. So what if my spirit is just blue-silver grass? If cultivated properly, I can still become a powerful individual. His newly acknowledged teacher had told him this sentence. Zyro Tian tried his best to hold back his laughter. Yu Zyrogang's words had harmed countless people. Even after 10,000 years, only a handful of people had proven this statement true. Jai Juchen was one, and Tanya could barely be considered half. Zyro Tian's spirit, sword innate spirit power rank 5, please enlighten me. Zyro Tian didn't waste any more words. His sword 15 immediately appeared in his right hand. 15, it's your turn to perform well. Sword 15 trembled with great spirituality. Tang San found Zyro Tian's spirit a bit strange. It had spirituality. This seemed different from his clear sky hammer. He would ask his teacher about it later. It was quite interesting. Tang San also manifested his blue-silver grass spirit in his right hand. Then it disappeared, because his blue-silver grass had no spirit ring attached, making its use not very significant. It was not as good as his Tang sect's unique skills. Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. Tang San used the Tang sect's unique skill, approaching Zyro Tian with an extremely bizarre gait. Although Zyro Tian was prepared, his pupils still constricted. Fortunately, this was a dormitory, and Tang San's movement path was effectively blocked, giving Zyro Tian an idea. 15. Sword Control Technique. At this moment, Zyro Tian exuded an incredibly powerful sword intent. 15 transformed into several sword shadows in the air, striking directly at Tang San. Tang San was instantly startled. What astonishing sword intent! How was this possible? Tang San couldn't bother to get close to Zyro Tian, and immediately used his mysterious jade hand. His hands instantly turned an ink jade color, blocking the incoming sword shadows at extreme speed, preparing for a bare-handed catch of a sharp blade. But how could Zyro Tian let go of such a good opportunity? He lunged forward in a single step. Before Tang San could react, Zyro Tian's sword 15 was already resting on his neck, its cold glint shimmering. Chapter 4 Zyro Wu, Tang San, you look a bit silly like this. You lost, Zyro Tian said with a slight smile. Tang San's forehead was dripping with cold sweat at this moment, and he was full of curiosity about Zyro Tian. He couldn't understand why Zyro Tian was so powerful. Moreover, although it was only for an instant just now, he did feel the sword intent emanating from Zyro Tian. He had only seen this sword intent on some sword cultivation experts in his previous life, but Zyro Tian was clearly just a 6-year-old child who had just awakened his spirit. I lost, Tang San said, very unwillingly. Then he added, although I lost this time, it's only because the dormitory space is too small, and I couldn't fully unleash my abilities. If it were in an open area, I would definitely be the one to win. This was Tang San's absolute confidence in his Tang sect unique skills. It was too sudden just now. He didn't even have time to activate his purple demon eye before Zyro Tian's sword was already at his throat. Zyro Tian didn't doubt what Tang San said. He did indeed take advantage of the terrain. After all, he was just an ordinary modern person in his previous life. Besides knowing some of the plot and liking swords, he had no other advantages. Fortunately, he had a system in this life, so he could reluctantly fight Tang San. Ding, the system is greatly shocked. The host actually defeated God King Tang San at the Spirit Scholar level, although it doesn't rule out the possibility that God King Tang San went easy. Critical reward triggered. Gain the martial skills Immortal Wind Cloud Body Technique and Drunken Immortal Gazing at the Moon Step. When Zyro Tian saw these two martial skills rewarded by the system, his eyes immediately lit up. Weren't these the skills of the sword Immortal of Wine? The Immortal Wind Cloud Body Technique can create multiple body illusions, which can confuse opponents and also be used for group attacks. The Drunken Immortal Gazing at the Moon Step, on the other hand, is a type of light body technique that can also increase one's attack speed after use. Although this system is a bit crazy, the rewards it gives are absolutely clear. The next moment, information about the Immortal Wind Cloud Body Technique and Drunken Immortal Gazing at the Moon Step was transmitted into his mind by the system. With the enlightenment boost he had initially received, he instantly learned these two martial skills to the introductory level. It probably wouldn't take many days for him to master them completely. In this way, even outdoors, with these two martial skills and the sword control technique he had practiced based on his memories from his previous life, he might not lose to Tang San. The others in Dorm 7 were all dumbfounded, especially Wang Sheng. He hadn't expected the new students this year to be so fierce. Tang San had seemed very powerful just now, even though his spirit was blue-silver grass and he hadn't used it at all. And Zyro Tian's strength was even more unexpected. The moment he took up the sword, his entire aura became sharp, and didn't he not have a spirit ring? What the hell was that sword control technique just now? It looked too cool. Zyro Tian, did you comprehend this sword control technique yourself, or did someone else teach it to you? You don't have a spirit ring, yet you already possess a spirit ability. Tang San asked curiously, not caring at all that it was their first meeting, and if asking such a question was a bit presumptuous. Zyro Tian didn't answer Tang San's question, but instead retorted, "Oh, actually, I'm quite interested in your spirit abilities too. That strange footwork of yours just now, and your hand turning into a dark jade color, can you tell me about them first?" Tang San. Seeing that Zyro Tian didn't want to talk, Tang San also didn't want to make a fool of himself. He chose a bed and put down his luggage. Just then, a lowly girl wearing a rabbit ear headband and a pink dress walked in. "Hello everyone, my name is Zyro Wu, the Wu from dancing. I'm a new work-study student," Zyro Wu said sweetly to everyone. Wang Sheng and the others exchanged glances, their eyes full of helplessness. It seemed there were a lot of work-study students this year. And looking at Zyro Wu's confident expression, Wang Sheng swallowed hard and couldn't help but ask, Zyro Wu, what are your spirit and innate spirit power?" Zyro Wu put her hands on her hips and said with a smile, "My spirit is a rabbit, the very cute kind, and my innate spirit power is level 10. Tang San, standing by, looked at the lowly girl in front of him. For some reason he felt as if his heart had been struck by something. He couldn't quite describe the feeling and subconsciously said, "That's quite a coincidence. I'm also level 10 innate spirit power, but my spirit is blue-silver grass, which happens to be your food." It was then that Zyro Wu noticed the somewhat ordinary and thin Tang San beside her. "Huh, this is the first time I've heard of someone with a blue-silver grass spirit being able to cultivate, and with full innate spirit power at that. What a strange person. What's your name?" "Tang San." Zyro Wu nodded thoughtfully, then didn't pay much attention because she was attracted by another person next to Tang San. "Are you also a new student? Can you introduce yourself?" Zyro Wu's gaze turned to Zyro Tian. This was the first time she had seen such a handsome person on her journey. No, it couldn't be said he was just handsome. Rather, he gave off a feeling of steadfastness and sharpness. Although he was only a 6-year-old child like her, he exuded a sharp aura all over. Ding, warning, warning. The person in front of you is Shura Sword Sheath Zyro Wu, a god-level expert, and the wife of God King Tang San. The reason the host defeated Tang San just now is that he didn't bother with you. If you harm Zyro Wu, you will be courting death. Zyro Tian ignored the system's warning and said to Zyro Wu, "My name is Zyro Tian, my spirit is sword, my innate spirit power is level 5, and I am the new dorm head of Dorm 7. Afterward, Zyro Tian also explained the rules of Dorm 7 to Zyro Wu, and as expected, it immediately piqued Zyro Wu's interest. Zyro Wu said excitedly, "So, you're the strongest in this dorm now, but it's a bit surprising to me that you won against Tang San in a spirit competition. Although Tang San's spirit is just blue-silver grass, he still has 5 levels more spirit power than you." "Forget it, never mind that. So that means if I beat you, I can be the dorm head of Dorm 7, right? Then everyone will have to call me Zyro Wu Jai from now on." Zyro Wu pointed at Zyro Tian with her right hand, her left hand on her waist, a confident expression on her face. Perfect, she was originally the big sister in the Stardew Great Forest, and now that she had come to the human world, she naturally wanted to be the boss. Tang San, who was beside them, couldn't help but argue, "That's because the dorm was too small, I couldn't fully unleash myself." Zyro Wu frowned and said, "Tang San, you're being a bit silly. A loss is a loss, why so many excuses?" Tang San's face immediately turned green then purple. He looked at Zyro Tian, wondering what he was thinking. For some reason, he had an urge to perform in front of Zyro Wu Chapter 5, Crazy Test on the Edge of Death, not existing. Zyro Tian naturally saw Tang San's hidden gaze towards him. He had no doubt that he might have already been marked by him, and that he probably already had a death wish. However, with Tang San's current strength, as long as Tang Hao didn't suddenly act dishonorably, there shouldn't be much of a problem. He only needed to pay attention to his low-level hidden weapons. Even so, it still gave Zyro Tian a headache. Zyro Tian glanced at Zyro Wu, then looked at Tang San, and an idea suddenly came to him. He thought, "Let's be even more reckless, hee." "Tang San, why are you looking at me with such a terrifying gaze? It's not like just because I won against you once, you'd hold a grudge and want to retaliate against me in private, right? I'm only at innate level 5, it can't be, can it?" Zyro Tian said, as if he had suddenly discovered Tang San's expression, with a look of great shock. "Ding, host, you really like to test the limits on the edge of death. Are you really not afraid of suddenly dying in your sleep one day, or suddenly getting poisoned while eating?" Zyro Tian said, "What can I do? If I expose it now, Tang San, out of consideration for Zyro Wu, can't really resort to underhanded tricks, can he?" At this, Zyro Tian's words drew everyone's attention to Tang San. Tang San's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly reined in his little thoughts, thinking to himself, "This Zyro Tian's senses are really sharp." He immediately put on an innocent smile and said, "No way, Zyro Tian must have seen it wrong. You and I are both just 6-year-old kids, how could I retaliate against you in private? I was just thinking that I didn't use my full strength just now, and I wanted to invite you to spar properly outside in a few days. We can learn from each other and improve together." Tang San's words were flawless, immediately dispelling everyone's doubts. Wang Sheng also smiled and said, "Zyro Tian, you probably saw it wrong. Tang San looks so honest, and we're all classmates from now on. Our opponents should be those nobles." Zyro Tian chuckled inwardly, "Tang San is honest. That's the funniest joke in the world." Zyro Wu also looked thoughtfully at Zyro Tian and Tang San, but with her small head she couldn't figure anything out. So she still said to Zyro Tian, "Let's have a match. We can use our spirit." Zyro Tian nodded without saying anything. Zyro Wu's spirit was basically just for show. those moves could still be used even without her spirit, like the waist bow. Zyro Tian also raised his guard to the fullest. He had to be careful not to let Zyro Wu's hands touch him, otherwise he would have no power to resist at all. He wasn't like Tang San with such strong physical techniques. His main attack method was the sword in his hand. Seeing Zyro Tian nod, Zyro Wu revealed a sly smile on her lips and charged directly towards Zyro Tian. 15. Retract the sharpness of the blade. This is just a match. Zyro Tian whispered to Sword 15, and 15 trembled, its blade instantly dulling a bit. Zyro Tian smiled with satisfaction. It was interesting that his spirit had a spirit. Now he didn't need to be too restrained. However, Zyro Wu, taking advantage of that instant, had already approached within a meter of Zyro Tian, her small fist striking directly at Zyro Tian's face. "Don't you know not to hit someone's face?" Zyro Tian said irritably, blocking with his blade in front of him. Boom! In that instant, he and Zyro Wu each retreated several steps due to the recoil. Zyro Tian sighed inwardly, as expected of an attack system. The physical strength is strong. Fortunately, my physique is also much stronger because of practicing swordplay. Zyro Wu was slightly surprised. Zyro Tian, are you really innate level 5? How do I feel like you're about the same as me? After this collision, Zyro Wu developed a strong curiosity about Zyro Tian. This didn't seem like the strength of an innate level 5. Zyro Tian, innate level 5 is real, but I have a cheat. It's already been upgraded to innate level 10, hehe. Of course it's real. I even have a certificate given to me by a spirit master from Spirit Hall. I really envy you innate level 10s. At the end, Zyro Tian also showed a look of envy and sighed slightly. However, Zyro Tian then smiled and said, "Come on, let me see your true strength. I won't go easy on you." "HMPH, I don't need you to go easy on me. I'm going to be the big sister." Zyro Wu snorted coldly. Although Zyro Tian's strength was beyond her expectations, her own strength wasn't weak. The next moment, Zyro Wu concentrated her spirit power in her feet, pushing off with both feet and approaching Zyro Tian at her fastest speed. Tang San was shocked, so fast. Zyro Tian's mouth curved slightly. "So fast, then I'll try the move I just learned." Drunken immortal gazing at the moon step. Zyro Tian's figure flickered, and just as Zyro Wu was about to grab him, he flashed behind her. Looking at the opening in Zyro Wu's back, Zyro Tian chuckled mischievously. 15, soften up a bit. 15 trembled slightly, and its entire blade, to everyone's astonished gaze, actually drooped down. Everyone, holy cow, this sword is amazing. It can even do that. Zyro Tian held the sword hilt with both hands, his eyes fixed on Zyro Wu's skirt, and like swinging a bat, he directly smacked her on the butt. "Oh!" Feeling her butt being hit, Zyro Wu couldn't help but exclaim, instinctively covering her butt with both hands. Zyro Tian, you actually dared to hit my butt there." Zyro Wu turned her head, her face flushed, and said, "Cough cough, we're even now. You wanted to hit my face just now, but you didn't succeed, did you?" Zyro Tian said without batting an eyelid. "Bastard, if you dare let me touch you." Zyro Wu stomped her foot, her face full of unwillingness, and charged directly towards Zyro Tian. Her strength hadn't been fully unleashed. "No way," Zyro Tian said with a smile, finding it somewhat amusing to see Zyro Wu's exasperated expression. 15. Zyro Tian loosened his right hand, and using the principle of sword control technique, he had 15 seized the opportunity to directly tie up Zyro Wu. This move was something he thought of on the fly, recalling the soft sword of De Ben in the Rainbow Cat and Blue Rabbit's 7 Heroes story. A softened 15 could perfectly be used as a small whip, and its inherent toughness made it difficult to break free. The only drawback was that he couldn't make 15 bigger yet. "Zyro Wu, just admit defeat. I know you have moves you can't use, and I haven't let you use your full strength, but do you know that I actually haven't used my full strength either?" Since Zyro Tian was half a head taller than Zyro Wu when he got close to her, he also lowered his head slightly and whispered into her ear. Chapter 6, Women Only Slow Down the Speed of Drawing My Sword. Zyro Wu suddenly felt a tickle in her ear, and a strange feeling arose in her heart. A blush rose on her tender cheeks, and she subconsciously took half a step back, saying unconvincedly, "I admit defeat, let go of me quickly." When Tang San saw Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu being so intimate, for some unknown reason, his heart involuntarily twitched. Wang Sheng and the others were dumbfounded. Zyro Tian's sword spirit was truly bizarre. It could be hard or soft. Could it also be long or short, thick or thin later on? Of course, what surprised them the most was that Zyro Wu had actually lost. It was somewhat excusable that Tang San lost, as his spirit was too weak, and he could only rely on physical techniques to spar with Zyro Tian's sword. As the saying goes, an inch longer is an inch stronger, so it was understandable that Tang San was currently inferior to Zyro Tian. But Zyro Wu was a beast spirit user, after all word secret. They couldn't understand it at all word secret, and they felt that Zyro Tian hadn't used his full strength against Zyro Wu. The several sword shadows he used against Tang San earlier weren't deployed, and neither was the heart-palpitating sword intent. In their view, it seemed like Zyro Tian had Zyro Wu completely pinned down. Seeing that Zyro Wu admitted defeat, Zyro Tian naturally withdrew his spirit. Afterward, Zyro Tian ignored Zyro Wu's resentful gaze, selected a bed, and placed his luggage on it, setting the iron sword by the headboard. Ding, host truly shocks this system. Not only did you defeat God King Tang San, but you also defeated his wife, Zyro Wu. Triggering a critical reward ring-type storage spirit tool, contains 1,000 cubic meters of space, capable of storing living creatures. Space Shuttle Jade Pendant, all word secret, Douluo version. Space Shuttle Jade Pendant, a one-time item. After use, the holder can instantly reach any place they have previously visited. All word secret, Douluo version. After use, it can instantly increase the holder's spirit power, speed, mental force, and all word secret other attributes tenfold. Holy cow! Although this system is crazy, it really does give out items. And every item given is something he desperately needs right now. The storage spirit tool goes without saying. Having this item makes things truly convenient. The Space Shuttle Jade Pendant is a very useful life-saving item. Although the system said it would run away after he finished courting death, it still gave him such a life-saving item. How sensible. However, looking at the third reward, Zyro Tian was slightly stunned. Damn system, I'm your dad. You actually brought the all-word secret technique and made a Douluo version. Does that mean this world can withstand those myriad karmas now? Zyro Tian shouted excitedly to the system in his heart. Of course, Zyro Tian was only excited for a moment. The all-word secret technique is not that easy to trigger. He estimated it could only happen by chance, but it was still a very good trump card. System. Did it mishear something? Did its host say something wrong? Shouldn't it be the dad? Just then, a staff member of the academy walked in through the door. Is Tang San here? The Grandmaster asked me to bring bedding over. Tang San looked at the somewhat exquisite bedding, feeling a warmth in his heart, but still said calmly on the surface, I am. After the staff member placed the bedding on Tang San's bed, he said that the Grandmaster wanted Tang San to find him after dinner, and then left. Everyone's attention fell on Tang San and the bedding, except for Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian merely glanced indifferently at Tang San and Zyro Wu, then slowly walked toward the door. When he came, for convenience, he hadn't brought things like bedding or pillows, only some clothes and his certificate. Zyro Tian, are you going out? Zyro Wu's eyes had originally been focused on Tang San, bedding, wondering about something, but noticing Zyro Tian was about to leave, she immediately snapped back to attention. Zyro Tian said flatly, going out to buy bedding. What else? What about you? You can't just sleep directly on the bare bed tonight, can you? Wang Sheng and the others were also somewhat eager, trying to be helpful. Zyro Wu Jai, if you don't have bedding, you can use ours. Zyro Wu looked at the thin and somewhat dirty bedding on the beds of Wang Sheng and the others. It couldn't compare to Tang San's at all word secret, and she unconsciously showed a hint of disdain. Tang San, who was nearby, seemed to notice Zyro Wu's expression, and some guesses arose in his heart. His heartbeat couldn't help but quicken. Could it be? Zyro Tian, that's perfect. I also need bedding. I'll go out with you. Who knew that Zyro Wu would end up saying such a thing? Zyro Tian was also a bit surprised. He currently had no interest in this little lowly, and Zyro Wu, this 100,000-year spirit beast, was probably already being watched by Tang Hao outside the academy. Given his current strength, it was better to develop quietly. Why wasn't Zyro Wu following the plot development now? had he beaten her into submission? Zyro Tian casually said, "Oh." Zyro Wu immediately followed him up, a little annoyed, and said, "What, oh, can't you speak properly? Also, could you pay for my bedding later? I'll pay you back immediately once I've finished working and have money." When saying the second sentence, Zyro Wu's voice gradually became quieter, and her face was slightly flushed, obviously feeling a bit embarrassed. She had indeed been eyeing Tang San bedding earlier. Seeing how large it was, she had the idea of putting two beds together, drawing a line down the middle, and sharing it. But she suddenly remembered Tang San's bizarre behavior just now, and her impulsive idea immediately subsided. Then she noticed Zyro Tian. At least Zyro Tian gave her a pretty good feeling. As for Tang San, how should she put it? Although he looked very obedient and calm, after Zyro Tian's reminder just now, she seemed to notice a hint of depth, or perhaps gloom, beneath Tang San's calm eyes. She wasn't sure if her feeling was correct, as she had just entered human society. In the Stardew Great Forest, she didn't need to consider so much, so she decided to follow her inner thoughts. It was just new bedding, it shouldn't cost too much. However, Zyro Tian's attitude when speaking made her unhappy. It was too different from his attitude during the spa just now, wasn't it? Little did Zyro Wu know that Zyro Tian didn't want to get too involved with her right now. Who knew if Tang Hao would directly kill him if he saw them being too close? Although he had the life-saving measures given by the system, he still wanted to live a few more years of peaceful life. Moreover, women only slow down the speed of drawing his sword. Now was not the time to consider romance. He was only 6 years old. Instead of wasting time, he should practice his sword more. Since he finally had a sword and a system, shouldn't he make good use of them? Chapter 7. The system is a little weird to Tang Hao. What Zyro Tian didn't realize was that because of his recent contemplation, which reaffirmed his path as a sword cultivator, his sword intent was slowly and imperceptibly growing, a benefit brought by the improvement in his comprehension. Zyro Tian was also a bit surprised by what Zyro Wu said, but he calmly replied, "All right, then let's go into the city. It'll be a good chance to explore Nuding City." Zyro Wu hummed in agreement, then closely followed behind Zyro Tian, ignoring Tang San behind her. Tang San's mouth twitched, and he gave a deep, meaningful look at Zyro Tian's back. He tidied his bed while pondering Zyro Tian's actions just now. It was strange. He always felt as if his trump cards were seen through by Zyro Tian, and was Zyro Tian really that much of a genius? Also, before obtaining a spirit ring, he could use spirit abilities. The sword control technique at the beginning had already surprised him, and later, during his fight with Zyro Wu, the footwork Zyro Tian displayed was definitely a lightness skill. Lightness skill, don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Tang San's heart involuntarily skipped a beat, and then he thought of the sword intent Zyro Tian exuded. He couldn't help but wonder if Zyro Tian, like him, had transmigrated from another world. Moreover, Zyro Tian's previous life was very likely a disciple of a sword sect, which is why his understanding of the sword was so profound, to the point that he had already mastered sword intent at the age of 6. In his previous life, as an outer sect assassin of the Tang sect, he had encountered sword cultivators during missions, but most of them did not possess sword intent. Those who did were all famous figures in the martial world. However, today was only the first day he met Zyro Tian, so he couldn't jump to conclusions too soon. There were several points that needed confirmation now. One is Zyro Tian, like him, reborn into this world and possesses memories from his previous life. Tang San considered himself reborn, but was actually body snatched. 2. If Zyro Tian is like him, then does he come from the same world as his previous life? 3. Can Zyro Tian become his companion? If not, according to Tang sect rules, any threat must be eliminated as soon as possible. I say, Zyro Wu, you already have innate full spirit power. Once you get your first spirit ring in a few days, won't you be able to go to the Spirit Hall branch in Nuding City to claim your Spirit Master subsidy? That's 1 gold coin, enough for us for a long time. Zyro Tian said calmly, also probing Zyro Wu's attitude. No matter what, he was still very grateful to Spirit Hall. Not only did they help commoners awaken their spirit for free, but they also provided a generous monthly subsidy. However, when he thought of Bibaidong's attitude towards Yu Zyrogang, he felt a bit speechless, an almost fanatical obsession, but then again, that was none of his business. Originally, Zyro Wu was in a cheerful mood. Now, after hearing Zyro Tian's words, she immediately stopped being cheerful. Her expression even turned a bit cold. There's no way I'm going to Spirit Hall to claim a subsidy, and Spirit Hall isn't anything good either. Why do you have such a good impression of Spirit Hall, Zyro Tian? Zyro Tian felt the chill emanating from Zyro Wu but wasn't too concerned. He said with a calm expression, "Because the people of Spirit Hall helped me, a commoner with no background, awaken my spirit for free, and they also provide subsidies. That alone is enough. One must know how to be grateful, otherwise wouldn't I become an ungrateful wretch? That would be of no benefit to my sword Dao. Although I don't know why you dislike Spirit Hall, I don't really care after all. We've only known each other for less than a day." Zyro Wu was also slightly taken aback. She hadn't expected Zyro Tian to say that. Indeed, Spirit Hall's help to commoners like Zyro Tian was significant, and it was only natural for Zyro Tian to be grateful to Spirit Hall. She shouldn't have let her emotions get involved. Originally, she wanted to say something, but her lips moved, and she decided not to. Indeed, she and Zyro Tian had only known each other for less than a day. However, Zyro Tian's words immediately made her recall witnessing her mother being hunted by Bibai Dong for her spirit ring and spirit bone while hiding in the bushes when she was little. Her eyes instantly turned red, overwhelmed with emotion. Hey, Zyro Wu, are you okay? I just said it casually, you don't need to cry." Zyro Tian hadn't expected Zyro Wu to cry like that. Zyro Wu wiped the tears from her eyes and said proudly, "Who said I was crying? Also, after we buy the bedding, I'm going to cultivate. Once I get my first spirit ring after a while, I'll spar with you again. I want to make you wholeheartedly call me Zyro Wu Jai." Zyro Wu's fighting spirit was also ignited by Zyro Tian's probing words, which somewhat surprised him. Zyro Tian still remembered that Zyro Wu had verbally claimed she would cultivate diligently after transforming to seek revenge on Bibai Dong, but whether at Notting Academy or Shrek Academy, she only focused on dating. This is good now. Let her focus all her attention on her cultivation instead of Tang San, as that wouldn't benefit her much, and she would eventually only end up sacrificing herself and offering 3,100,000-year spirit rings and spirit bones. However, Zyro Tian remembered that Zyro Wu's mother was not killed by Bibai Dong, but was severely injured by a powerful spirit beast when she went to the land of great evil to search for her husband. If Bibai Dong had really killed Zyro Wu's mother, and Zyro Wu had hidden nearby and witnessed it all, would Bibai Dong, with her titled Douluo mental force, not have noticed a transformed soft bones rabbit nearby? One must know that Bibai Dong is the owner of twin spirits, so there's no situation where she couldn't absorb it. Even if she couldn't absorb it, she could have captured and raised Zyro Wu, but Bibai Dong at that time didn't do so, which makes one ponder deeply. Ding, warning, God of Slaughter Tang Hao, the Douluo Star Plane Master, is within a 500-meter radius of the host. Please be careful. This system just said not to provoke Tang San and Zyro Wu, and now look, you hit the small one and the old one came. This system suggests that the host should still use that jade pendant to secretly transfer away and develop stealthily. Zyro Tian immediately felt speechless. Why was Tang Hao not keeping an eye on his own son, but instead on him? No, he should be watching Zyro Wu. Zyro Tian couldn't help but glance at the spirited Zyro Wu beside him, feeling a bit sympathetic. Why did she choose Nuding City out of all the small cities? The key is that the Stardew Great Forest spans across the two great empires, and Notting Academy is quite a distance from the Heaven Dew Empire, not to mention the Stardew Great Forest itself. Suddenly thinking of this, Zyro Tian was somewhat curious how Zyro Wu managed to travel such a long distance to Notting Academy. The Heaven Dew Empire wasn't without remote small cities. However, Zyro Tian's attention wasn't on this, but on the system's address for Tang Hao. Chapter 8. Instead of fighting, it is better to practice well. The system refers to Tang Hao as the Slaughter God, the Plane Master of Douluo Star. Slaughter God is understandable. Tang San becoming a divinity more than 20 years later allowed Tang Hao to inherit the second-rank divinity Slaughter God, and Tang Hao also possesses the Slaughter God domain, so it is reasonable for the system to call Tang Hao the Slaughter God now. But calling Tang Hao the Plane Master of Douluo Star, isn't that a bit excessive? Tang Hao only became the Plane Master of Douluo Star 10,000 years later. Also, there are the titles for Tang San and Zyro Wu, which gave Zyro Tian some conjectures. But for now, he has come into contact with too few characters to fully confirm anything. He needs to observe more. After purchasing all the items, it was already noon. Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu ate outside before returning. Of course, Zyro Tian paid. On the way back, Zyro Tian finally couldn't help but ask, "Zyro Wu, can I ask where your home is? Why don't you even have a single bronze coin on you?" Zyro Wu's face stiffened instantly, and her eyes darted around erratically. "Well, my home is very far from here. I actually eat very little. I've been eating wild fruits and carrots along the way." "Then why didn't you choose a school closer to home? Don't they have work-study students there?" Zyro Tian posed another question. This had actually bothered him for quite some time. "Zyro Wu, why do you like this? You're annoying, I'll tell you later." Zyro Wu said with a hint of haughtiness, then stepped forward. Actually, she also didn't know why she came to such a distant place. It seemed, as Zyro Tian said, there were small cities between the Stardew Great Forest and Newuding City. With her spirit beast identity, as long as it wasn't a titled Douluo, no one could see through her. Titled Douluo were mostly in those main cities, so how could she easily encounter one? Zyro Tian watched Zyro Wu's back without speaking, following behind her, thinking about what he planned to do next. Sword practice was naturally a required daily lesson, but now there were also other training projects, quickly cultivating the immortal wind cloud body technique and drunken immortal gazing at the moon step to the grand completion stage. However, before that, there was one thing he had wanted to do ever since he awakened Sword 15, sword control flying. Through his efforts in the 3 months before coming to the academy, he had taught himself the sword control technique. Now he could try to fly with a sword based on that. It would be even better if he could make 15 relieve itself anywhere. Moreover, his first spirit ring should also be settled. However, now that he had the comprehension boost from the system, and this crazy system would occasionally give him sword moves, it meant that his spirit ring could be anything. Considering that he would need a large amount of spirit power to unleash sword moves at first, Zyro Tian decided that his first spirit ring would be one related to increasing spirit power. However, since it had only been 3 months since he awakened his spirit, no matter how much he cultivated, it was impossible to reach level 10 so quickly. So Zyro Tian planned to go hunting in the nearby spirit beast forest by himself. As for being discovered later, he would just say he was a gifted genius who could speed up his spirit power cultivation by practicing sword intent. Anyway, Yu Zyrogang, that fake grandmaster, definitely wouldn't see anything, and might even be very interested in it, never suspecting him. Back at the academy, Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu found that only Wang Sheng and a few others were present in Dorm 7, while Tang San had probably already gone to Yu Zyrogang's place. Zyro Tian wasn't too concerned about this. After placing his bedding on his bed, he picked up his iron sword and turned to leave the dormitory. "Hey Zyro Tian, you just came back and you're going out again?" Wang Sheng asked, somewhat confused. "Practicing sword." Zyro Tian glanced at Wang Sheng and the others and said indifferently, "I'll give you a suggestion. We are commoners to begin with. Now that we have spirit power and are cultivating well, we should train desperately, not fight with those noble students." Wang Sheng and the others were slightly stunned. Wang Sheng said, somewhat displeased, "It's not like we work-study students want this. It's always those noble students causing trouble. We have no choice." Zyro Tian shook his head and said, "Since that's the case, then we should cultivate even harder. Also, now with the 3 of us joining, you can spread the news that Zyro Wu and Tang San have innate full spirit power, and you can subtly hint that Tang San has taken the Grandmaster as his teacher. The Grandmaster is, after all, a famous theoretician on the continent. Now that Tang San is already at level 10, he will surely take him to acquire his first spirit ring in the next 2 days. Among the noble 6th grade students, who has the highest spirit power level? What level are they?" Wang Sheng, after being spoken to by Zyro Tian like this, could only say blankly, "It's Zyro Chenyu, level 11. "That's right, if that still doesn't work, then go find the principal. He wouldn't want 2 promising commoner talents to clash with noble students, would he? If the principal steps in and says something, Zyro Chenyu and the others will probably quiet down a bit, and Tang San at least has the Grandmaster backing him." Although Zyro Chenyu and the others didn't know Yu Zyrogang's background, everyone in the academy knew he was a good friend of the principal, and Zyro Chenyu's father was, after all, the city lord of Newuding City. Yu Zyrogang was, after all, the continent's #1 theoretical grandmaster on the surface, and even if he was expelled from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, He wasn't someone a mere city lord could provoke. Wang Sheng and the others looked at each other, their faces full of helplessness. However, what Zyro Tian said did make some sense. They could try it. If they could avoid fighting, they wouldn't want to. They came to the academy to cultivate and study, not to fight. Zyro Wu looked at Zyro Tian's back, deep in thought, and chased after him. Hey Zyro Tian, wait for me. Why did you say that just now? Zyro Wu frowned and said. Zyro Tian walked towards the academy's lawn, his expression calm. What, was I wrong? Do you think this kind of fighting has any meaning? Losing is losing face, winning is becoming the boss, the big sister. Regardless of winning or losing, does it have any substantial benefit to our cultivation? If we lose, the noble students will constantly cause trouble. If we win and become the boss, there might be a bunch of tedious things waiting for us later. With that time, I'd rather practice my sword. With his memories from his previous life, his mindset was no longer that of a 6-year-old child. He truly had no interest in such childish squabbles. If Zyro Chenyu and the others were stronger, it might even help him improve his strength, serving as a stepping stone. But Zyro Chenyu's strength was truly too weak. As the son of a city lord, his first spirit ring was only a 10-year spirit ring, not even a 100-year one. It really lowered the prestige of a city lord's son. Chapter 9 Narcissistic Yu Zyrogang. I can make an exception and accept you as a registered disciple. On the academy's lawn, Zyro Tian took off his shirt, revealing his well-built muscles, picked up the iron sword, and began to swing it with focused eyes. Ah, why did you suddenly take off your clothes? Zyro Wu couldn't help but exclaim, her face slightly red, covering her eyes with her small hands, but due to her curiosity, she still couldn't help but leave 2 small gaps. Zyro Tian smiled. Zyro Wu, haven't you heard of a phrase, sweating like rain? Are you thinking of something inappropriate with that little head of yours? When practicing sword, taking off your shirt allows for smoother movement. Who said my head is full of inappropriate thoughts? I'm only 6 years old, what bad ideas could I have? Zyro Wu didn't expect Zyro Tian to use such an excuse. She felt it was all specious reasoning. Zyro Tian was clearly the type who looked thin in clothes but muscular when undressed. Despite being only a 6-year-old child, his entire body looked so powerful. Zyro Tian secretly chuckled. What 6-year-old girl? The soft bones demon rabbit's status among soft bones rabbits is equivalent to the blue-silver emperor's status among blue-silver grass, and her cultivation talent and ability are also excellent. But even so, Zyro Wu must be at least tens of thousands of years old. Still pretending to be innocent, ha ha ha. Perhaps Zyro Wu, having lived in the Stardew Great Forest for many years, was indeed simpler compared to humans, but she at least had a mother guiding her, so she must have had some enlightenment regarding such matters. Zyro Wu watched Zyro Tian practicing his sword. Not to be outdone, she sat down on the spot and began to cultivate. Although she couldn't openly gather spirit power next to Zyro Tian right now, she could still continue to cultivate her spirit power. Gradually night fell, and the sky was filled with beautiful sunset glow. Gugugu tilde tilde. After cultivating all afternoon, Zyro Wu's stomach was rumbling. After opening her eyes, she found that Zyro Tian was still in the same posture, still continuously swinging his sword, his entire upper body covered in sweat, shimmering under the sunset glow. Zyro Tian, do you just keep swinging your sword like this? How long has it been? Zyro Wu said with some shock. Zyro Tian heard Zyro Wu's voice and only then came back to his senses. It was as if he had entered a state where he wouldn't get tired no matter how much he swung his sword. It felt great. It was truly great. Ah, it's normal. Ever since I can remember, I've been practicing with a small wooden sword, even sleeping while holding it. Zyro Tian wiped the sweat from his hand, first picked up the towel on the lawn to wipe his sweat, and then put on his shirt. This greatly reduced the smell of sweat on his body, which was also one of the benefits of practicing without a shirt. Zyro Wu was shocked to hear this. This must be why Zyro Tian's upper body lines were so good. Watching Zyro Tian put on his clothes, she actually felt a little reluctant. Let's go, it's getting late, let's go eat. Your stomach is already protesting. Zyro Tian chuckled teasingly, then walked towards the cafeteria. Isn't your stomach the same? Zyro Wu followed closely, muttering softly. Unfortunately, on their way, they happened to run into Yu Zyrogang and Tang San. Similarly, the system, as usual, issued a warning about Tang San's appearance, but there was no reaction at all to Yu Xiaogang. "Oh, Tang San, what a coincidence." Xiao Tian greeted them politely and prepared to walk past them. But someone was unwilling to let them go. "Wait, your name is Xiao Tian, right? Little San said your spirit has sentience. Can you show it to me?" Yu Xiaogang hurriedly stopped Xiao Tian, who was about to leave, and said in an undeniable tone, "Are we very familiar?" Xiao Tian's eyes were as calm as an ancient well. What did this Yu Xiaogang want to do? Yu Xiaogang's face stiffened slightly, just as Tang San said. Xiao Tian seemed not very easy to get along with. Tang San frowned, a hint of displeasure flashing in his eyes. "Xiao Tian, how are you talking to my grandmaster?" Yu Xiaogang looked at his disciple, who was eagerly speaking up for him, nodded with satisfaction, then waved his hand and said, "It's fine, it's normal for Xiao Tian not to know me." Then Yu Xiaogang revealed what he thought was a very kind smile. "Let me introduce myself. My name is Yu Xiaogang, the continent's #1 theoretical grandmaster. You are the second person I've seen whose spirit has sentience. I'm a bit interested in this, and I hope you can show your spirit. If it truly has sentience, even if your innate spirit power is only level 5, I can make an exception and accept you as a registered disciple. How about it? I don't accept just anyone. Currently, Little San is my only closed-door disciple, and he will remain my only closed-door disciple in the future." "Xiao Tian, are you kidding me, buddy? Do you have a problem?" Xiao Tian suspected Yu Xiaogang had a severe narcissistic tendency. Was the continent's #1 theoretical grandmaster really that great? He was just a joke. "Xiao Tian, oh." Xiao Tian ignored him directly and walked straight towards the cafeteria. Seriously, he had been practicing sword all afternoon, and now he was starving to death. "If you're not eager to eat, there's something wrong with your mind." Xiao Wu glanced at the two of them indifferently and quickly followed Xiao Tian's footsteps. She could somewhat understand why Xiao Tian had that attitude, because she felt the same way. She was hungry. Did these two not know what the cafeteria was for? Yu Xiaogang's face stiffened once again. The kindness on his face could no longer be maintained, and a strong sense of dissatisfaction rose in his heart. "Stop, Xiao Tian, what kind of attitude is that?" Tang San said, his eyes a little cold. Xiao Tian stopped, feeling a little helpless. He wanted to keep a low profile, but others wouldn't let him. Xiao Tian's eyes drooped, and a faint sword intent unconsciously emanated from his body. "Warning, warning, Tang Hao is nearby. Please do not make any excessive moves, keep a low profile." Low profile. This system does not want to change hosts so quickly, it affects performance. Tang San immediately looked at Xiao Tian warily. Xiao Tian's aura had changed. "Hey, what kind of grandmaster are you? Aren't you annoying? Do you know what time it is now? This is the way to the cafeteria. If we go any later, there won't be any food left. Do you have to ask at this moment?" Before Xiao Tian could turn around, Xiao Wu erupted first. This grandmaster, like Tang San, was truly annoying. After Xiao Wu finished speaking, she immediately pulled Xiao Tian's hand and ran towards the cafeteria. Because of Yu Xiaogang and their entanglement, there were basically no people on the road, and they were already late for the cafeteria. For the sake of her dinner, Xiao Wu didn't care about anything else and ran towards the cafeteria, pulling Xiao Tian's hand. Xiao Tian was also slightly stunned, looking at Xiao Wu who was pulling him, and said, Xiao Wu, you should somewhat dislike me, right? Yet you're speaking up for me." After running a short distance, Xiao Wu released Xiao Tian's hand, her face slightly red, and she slightly calmed her breathing, saying with some confusion, "When did I say I disliked you?" Chapter 10. Xiao Wu, my mother said papaya can help me sleep. Xiao Tian was slightly startled. My intuition. Look, today I not only won against you in the battle, but I also said so many things that don't align with your views, like about Spirit Hall. Xiao Wujai was silent for a moment, then spoke. "That's true, but first of all in the battle, you won fair and square, though there were some shameless parts in between. And as for the things you said, if I think about it carefully, I think you made a lot of sense. We really should focus on cultivation now, and it's better not to bother with other trivial matters. As for Spirit Hall, I'll reserve my opinion." Then Xiao Wujai smiled slyly, "But Xiao Tian, I'm not really interested in those trivial matters either. What I'm most interested in is being the big sister, but now I know you're probably much stronger than that Zyro Chenyu, even though your spirit power isn't as high as mine yet. How about this? You can't just keep practicing swordplay. How about we have some practical combat training occasionally? If I win, you have to call me Zyro Wujai, how about it? Zyro Tian couldn't help but smile. What if you lose then? Zyro Wujai jutted out her neck and said confidently, I won't lose next time. If I lose, you can do whatever you want to me. Oh really, anything at all? Zyro Tian showed a teasing smile, his eyes slowly sweeping over Zyro Wujai's entire body. Then he said with some regret, forget it, I'm not interested in a little lowly like you. No chest, no legs. Instantly, Zyro Wujai's face flushed crimson with embarrassment, and she instinctively kicked towards Zyro Tian's waist. Bastard Zyro Tian, you're talking about me, but what kind of perverted garbage is in your head? I'm still growing. What child at this age would satisfy what you're talking about? I've found that sometimes you really go crazy with a straight face, you pervert. Tusk tusk tusk, you got angry after I said a couple of truths. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. It's not impossible to have practical combat with you, but you always have to be prepared to have your butt spanked like today. Also, since it's practical combat, you can't cry if you get hurt. Zyro Tian, quick as lightning, easily caught Zyro Wujai's little foot as she kicked it over. Hee if you're bad, practice more. All right, we've reached the cafeteria. I won't bother you anymore, let's eat. Zyro Wujai. Zyro Wujai felt a bit exasperated. This Zyro Tian looked good, and his figure was also nice, but it was a shame he had such a mouth. Are all sword cultivators so direct when they speak? Subconsciously, Zyro Wujai looked down at her slightly flat chest, her gaze extending all the way to her feet. Zyro Tian, help me buy some papayas later. My mom said they can help with sleep. Zyro Wujai said through gritted teeth. Pudding. Zyro Tian really couldn't help but laugh. How could you come up with that excuse? All right, no problem. Oh right, papaya is best with milk, ha 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 ha. Oh, and this money, consider it a debt you owe me. Yu Zyrogang and Tang San remained in place, feeling a bit bewildered. The two exchanged glances, and Yu Zyrogang sighed, cough cough, it is time to eat, let's go too. Yu Zyrogang stood there for a long time, finally managing to squeeze out that sentence, giving himself a way out. It's just that his mood was not very good right now. Zyro Tian's attitude displeased him greatly. Of course, the reason he was prepared to make an exception and take Zyro Tian as a registered disciple was solely due to Zyro Tian's spirit. After so many years, besides his Luo Sanpao, Zyro Tian was the second person he knew whose spirit possessed sentience, which greatly piqued his interest. Moreover, according to Tang San, Zyro Tian's spirit was a very ordinary-looking iron sword, yet it had innate level 5 spirit power, which he found somewhat unbelievable. How could an ordinary iron sword spirit possibly have innate level 5 spirit power? After all, his Liu San Pao only brought him half a level of spirit power. Even though his own spirit looked a bit ugly, it at least possessed true dragon bloodline. And Yu Zyrogang didn't doubt it for a moment. It wasn't that the spirit was bad, but that he himself was bad. What kind of trash spirit rings did he give Liu San Pao? Spirits with true dragon bloodline are generally not too weak, but because of this, there's an unwritten rule on the continent. It's best to hunt spirit beasts with dragon bloodline as spirit rings. This is a consensus among all spirit masters on the continent with dragon-type spirits, but Yu Zyrogang just doesn't play by the rules. He completely ruined Luo Sanpao. Who can he blame for that? Teacher, are you really planning to take Zyro Tian as a disciple? Tang San asked curiously. To be honest, his impression of Zyro Tian wasn't very good. Originally, he thought that after being reborn into this world, possessing everything he learned from the Tang sect in his previous life, he would be invincible among those of the same rank, if not capable of fighting above his level. But his very first battle in this life he lost, and he lost to Zyro Tian, who only had innate level 5 spirit power. This made him feel quite unbalanced inside. Secondly, for some reason, seeing Zyro Wujai and Zyro Tian so close made him feel a bit stifled. Yu Zyrogang looked in the direction where Zyro Tian had disappeared from his sight and said calmly, not a disciple, but a registered disciple. It's just a name, nothing substantial. I'm only interested in his spirit. His innate level 5 spirit power isn't worth becoming my disciple. I will only have one closed-door disciple in this life, and that is you, Tang San. Yu Xiaogang secretly laughed in his heart. Tang San's talent was the strongest he had ever seen, besides Bibai Dong. Moreover, his second spirit was the Clear Sky Hammer. He believed that the Clear Sky Hammer spirit alone was much stronger than Bibai Dong's Spider Emperor spirit. He could already imagine Tang San's Clear Sky Hammer spirit being equipped with at least 10,000-year spirit rings in the later stages, and combined with the Clear Sky sect's secret techniques, even Bibai Dong wouldn't be enough to contend with. He heard that Xiao Tian defeated Tang San with his spirit today. He didn't care at all. It was normal for Xiao Tian to have a slight advantage with his spirit now, but once he takes Tang San to the Soul Hunting Forest tomorrow to obtain the first spirit ring for his blue-silver grass, Xiao Tian won't be able to get close to Tang San at all with his abilities. This is the power of a control system spirit. Even ordinary blue-silver grass is a natural counter to attack system users like Xiao Tian. After all, a sword cultivator, once the sword is controlled, the person themselves is no longer a threat, unlike beast spirit owners who might still break free from control with a full outburst. Chen Xin, are you sure? Moreover, Tang San has a powerful background, Tang Hao and the Clear Sky sect, so letting Tang San test his theories requires caution and asking for Tang San's opinion. But as for Xiao Tian, he's just a 6-year-old child. Does he know how to absorb spirit rings? Does he know so much about spirit beasts? In the end, won't he just have to obediently listen to him? Then he'll have a good experimental subject. It's just that the first meeting today was a bit unpleasant, which he hadn't expected. Chapter 11, Double Standard Sword 15. Early the next morning, Tang San woke up early to absorb the purple kai of the morning, then quietly packed some luggage and went to find Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang was going to take him to the Soul Hunting Forest to obtain his first spirit ring. After Tang San left the dormitory, Xiao Tian suddenly opened his eyes, first looking at the door, then at Xiao Wu, who was still sleeping beside him.
Pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat.
Xiao Tian gently patted Xiao Wu's delicate, flawless cheek, which was soft and tender. He couldn't resist pinching and rubbing it a couple of times. Wake up quickly, the sun's on your butt. Didn't you say you wanted to cultivate properly? A day's planning starts in the morning. Hurry up and get up. Time to eat. Xiao Wu rubbed her eyes sleepily, mumbling indistinctly, time to eat. Is it that late already? As soon as Xiao Wu heard there was food, her little ears twitched. Xiao Tian smiled helplessly. Last night she said she would wake up earlier than him to cultivate, but here she was, still sleeping at this hour. Xiao Tian looked at the sun that had already risen outside. Xiao Wu reluctantly got up, quickly washed up, and then went outside with Xiao Tian. Why didn't he hear the system's warning sound today? System, check if Tang Hao is around. Ding host, the god of slaughter Tang Hao is not around. A slight curve appeared at the corner of Xiao Tian's mouth. His mental force wasn't high right now, but he could use this idiotic system to detect whether Tang Hao was around. Tang Hao probably followed Tang San and Yu Xiaogang from a distance, secretly protecting Tang San. In other words, in the original work, even if Tang San hadn't revealed his hidden weapons, Tang Hao would most likely have stepped in to save him. Originally, he had been wondering if Tang Hao wouldn't bother with Tang San, but instead monitor Xiao Wu near the academy. But now, on second thought, this was normal. Xiao Wu didn't know her identity as a 100,000-year spirit beast had been discovered, and since she had enrolled, she most likely wouldn't run away. As for Tang San's side, Yu Xiaogang was also stubborn. He had no combat power himself, yet he didn't seek help from others, taking Tang San alone to the Soul Hunting Forest to hunt spirit beasts. Wasn't that just pure suicide? Thinking of how Yu Xiaogang turned the golden holy dragon's cub into a pig that could only fart, he found it amusing. Was such a person worthy of being called a grandmaster of theory? Presumably, any spirit master who didn't know much about theory, but had such a spirit and a low innate spirit power, if there was truly hope for improvement, would definitely try their best to absorb a spirit beast close to their limit, and within their ability to hunt as a spirit ring. However, not everyone had a background like Yu Xiaogang. Starting with half a level of innate spirit power and being able to reach level 29 was already a miracle. Since Tang Hao was secretly protecting Tang San and Yu Xiaogang, he could also start his own actions. After all, he had already reached level 10 spirit power, and it was time for him to find a suitable spirit ring for himself. Although not absorbing a spirit ring temporarily allowed for spirit power accumulation, absorbing a spirit ring could enhance various attributes of oneself, making cultivation relatively faster. Moreover, after absorbing a spirit ring, his total spirit power could increase. He had many sword moves that required continuous spirit power consumption, so total spirit power was very important to him. It's decided, tomorrow morning he would go to another nearby soul-hunting forest to obtain his first spirit ring. For the first hour, Xiao Tian practiced swinging his sword and other moves as usual. Following that, Xiao Tian placed his iron sword aside and summoned his spirit, Sword 15. Xiao Wu looked at Xiao Tian with some confusion, not knowing what he was going to do. 15. Today we're going to practice a new move, Sword Flight. Can you use your own power to help me fly? Xiao Tian made an unrealistic request. Clang tilde tilde. 15's entire sword body suddenly went limp, and its sword tip, with great sentience, pointed towards Xiao Tian, swaying left and right. Sword 15, this concubine cannot do it. Xiao Wu couldn't help but say, Xiao Tian, I wanted to ask before, your spirit feels very sentient, but your request is too excessive, isn't it? 15 is just a sword. If you want it to carry you, it still needs spirit power support, right? Xiao Tian laughed. My spirit is quite special and possesses a certain sentience. I prefer to call it a wisdom spirit, or you can think of my sword spirit as having a sword spirit, but are you sure my request is excessive? Xiao Tian looked at the limp 15, his eyes darting around. 15, are you sure you don't want to try? Look at Xiao Wu beside me. Although her figure isn't great, her face is quite good, even if she has a bit of baby fat. How about you take her for a spin? Ding! The originally limp 15 instantly returned to its original state. The entire sword left Xiao Tian's hand and appeared in front of Xiao Wu. Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian was truly speechless. 15 really had such a dog-like personality. As long as the other person was a beautiful woman, the sword's attitude would do a complete 180-degree turn. Couldn't it be nicer to him, its owner? It truly was sword, double standard, 15. Xiao Wu looked at Xiao Tian with some hesitation. To be honest, she was still a little scared. Even if 15 could really carry her flying in the air, if she accidentally fell from a high altitude, she would probably go to see her mother. Xiao Tian glared fiercely at Sword 15 below him, then waved his hand and said, You can try standing on it. Let 15 just hover a few centimeters off the ground and try walking with you at a low altitude. Xiao Wu saw that Xiao Tian wasn't angry, and she finally breathed a sigh of relief. After all, 15 was willing to carry her, but unwilling to carry Xiao Tian, which made Xiao Wu feel strange, because no matter what, a spirit should be completely controlled by its owner. Xiao Wu didn't know that if Xiao Tian had even the slightest hint of dislike in his heart, Sword 15 would not have been able to do such a thing. The reason it came to Xiao Wu's side now was more due to Xiao Tian's subtle hints in his words. Subsequently, Xiao Wu tentatively stepped onto Sword 15 with both feet, trying to maintain her balance. Sword 15 then slowly carried her around the lawn. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian felt his spirit power consumption suddenly accelerate significantly. Indeed, this wasn't 15's power being consumed, but his own spirit power. However, Xiao Wu only experienced it for a short while. She was still a bit unaccustomed to it. Then, under Xiao Tian's control, 15 was forcibly returned to Xiao Tian's feet. Now it was his turn to try it out. Xiao Tian's right index and middle fingers were held together, and a burst of sword intent suddenly appeared, pointing at 15 below. 15's sword body became much sharper, enveloped by a faint sword intent. Xiao Tian intended to use sword intent to reduce spirit power consumption. He didn't know if this was a wild idea. In his previous life, whether watching TV dramas or anything else, those who flew with swords always had their sword bodies enveloped by a faint aura. This was perhaps one of the reasons why sword flight looked so cool. Chapter 12 Warning: The 50,000-year-old Jade Silkworm King has been discovered. Whoosh! Xiao Tian jumped onto 15's sword body, directly injecting half of his spirit power, and something surprising happened. 15 grew larger. The entire sword body instantly grew 3 to 4 times in size. 15. With a thought, Zyro Tian made 15 change to an appropriate size. As for the excess spirit power, it was stored within 15's sword body, serving as nourishment for his sword-riding flight. Boom! The next moment, under Zyro Wu's astonished gaze, Zyro Tian really flew up, directly soaring into the air, gracefully circling once before swiftly landing. So handsome! Zyro Wu's eyes sparkled with an unusual brilliance. Compared to Zyro Tian's sword-riding flight, she felt like she had just been playing house. After landing, Zyro Tian put away 15 and nodded with satisfaction. He hadn't expected to succeed on his first try. It was truly excellent. Also, during the sword-riding flight experiment, he discovered something. He could inject a portion of his spirit power into 15, serving as nourishment for 15's free movement. This discovery filled Zyro Tian with extreme joy. He just didn't know how much spirit power 15 itself could store. Didn't this mean he had an extra spirit power supplement? It was similar to the effect of the milk bottle spirit tool in Douluo Dalu 2. Once an enemy believed his spirit power was exhausted, he could have 15 feign disappearance, then wait for the right opportunity to suddenly reappear and deliver a fatal blow to the enemy. Upon hearing Zyro Wu's praise, Zyro Tian smiled. How about it? Want me to take you for a flight? Zyro Wu hesitated, saying, We won't fall, will we? Zyro Wu was a little afraid that if Zyro Tian ran out of spirit power halfway through the flight, wouldn't they just die together? That's a bit unusual. Ha ha ha, it's fine, we're just going to experience it briefly. Soon night fell again. Zyro Tian, while Zyro Wu was asleep, tiptoed out of the room. The main reason was that he was currently close to Zyro Wu, but he couldn't explain the reason for his fast cultivation speed, and since they had only known each other for a few days, Zyro Tian didn't think it was necessary to explain. Leaving in the middle of the night could avoid a lot of unnecessary trouble. After leaving the city, Zyro Tian headed in the opposite direction from the soul-hunting forest where Yu Zyrogang and the others went. Along the way, Zyro Tian ran while charging 15. He wanted to see how much spirit power 15 could withstand. Not long after, 15's sword body trembled violently, as if saying, I'm full, truly full. If you inject any more, it'll overflow. I really can't eat anymore. Zyro Tian secretly calculated, and it wasn't bad. Currently, 15 could store almost an entire level 10 spirit power of his. After obtaining a spirit ring, all attributes would be enhanced, and it should be able to store even more. Gradually, Zyro Tian traveled for several hours, and the sky slowly brightened. He also saw the silhouette of the soul-hunting forest in the distance. However, he didn't rush in. Instead, he found a small tea house nearby, ordered some tea, and recovered his own state. This was his first time encountering a spirit beast. Although he had seen many in his previous life, it was all theoretical knowledge and couldn't be put into practice. He only hoped he wouldn't make any mistakes later. Meanwhile, at Notting Academy's dormitory 7, Zyro Wu rubbed her eyes and looked at the bed next to her. Where did Zyro Tian go? Could he have gone to cultivate by himself behind her back? So diligent. He didn't even wake her up. Zyro Wu immediately felt a little angry. She quickly washed up and went to the place where he usually practiced his sword, only to find it empty. Zyro Wu. All right. Zyro Wu felt that Zyro Tian had even changed his cultivation spot now. When she came back tonight, she would definitely give him a piece of her mind. However, this was also an opportunity for her. She could just find a secluded place to condense her first spirit ring. After a short rest, Zyro Tian went directly to the outskirts of the soul-hunting forest. With his current strength, he could probably only wander around the periphery. He had been practicing sword since he could remember, and now his physique was also very good. He felt that his first spirit ring could probably approach 1,000 years at its limit. As for 1,000-year one, he didn't dare to imagine. There was a qualitative change between 100-year and 1,000-year spirit ring, and he also didn't believe he could defeat 1,000-year spirit beast, unless he had enough spirit power to support him. Midway, Zyro Tian encountered a large bamboo forest, which was precisely the plant-type spirit beast that Yu Zyrogang first led Tang San to in the original work, the 10-year spirit beast, solitary bamboo. This made Zyro Tian smile slightly. Tang San was Tang Hao's son, and for Yu Zyrogang to let Tang San absorb the spirit ring of such a useless spirit beast as his first spirit ring, Yu Zyrogang probably didn't want to live. Solitary bamboo had no offensive capabilities. The only attribute it could provide was a small increase in toughness. If he absorbed it, it could increase Sword 15's toughness, but there was really no need for that. Zyro Tian didn't even think about it and directly bypassed it. He focused on silkworm-type spirit beasts and some plant-type spirits with particularly strong vitality that could increase spirit power. The former had relatively low offensive capabilities, and absorbing the latter could not only increase spirit power, but also make 15 tougher. However, he couldn't say what kind of spirit ability he would get. Spirit abilities were too random, especially with the latter. Warning, warning, host, please evacuate quickly. Within a 500-meter radius, there is a 50,000-year greenwood silkworm king. Although it has no offensive capabilities, it is not something a mere spirit scholar like you can provoke. Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian immediately looked around alertly, finding nothing unusual, but he didn't relax because of it. Instead, he stood still, his sword intent surging around him, extending outwards from Zyro Tian as the center. This was an application of his own sword intent. Sword intent perception. His sword intent was like his own limbs. By making the sword intent thin and spreading it out, Zyro Tian could vaguely detect certain situations within a certain range. However, this move consumed his mental force. In just a few seconds, his face gradually turned pale. Just as he was about to lose his grip, he suddenly sensed a disturbance in the grass 400 meters away, at the 3 o'clock position. There seemed to be a relatively plump object on the grass, staying still. Ho-ho-ho. Zyro Tian's cold sweat wouldn't stop flowing. This wasn't suitable for him right now. He definitely needed to find a skull to enhance his mental force when he had the chance. Zyro Tian calmed himself slightly, holding his sword in his right hand, and slowly approached that direction. As a result, within a 5-meter radius, he finally saw the so-called Azure Jade Silkworm King. Its body was emerald green, like a chameleon, clinging to the grass, with faint wood grain patterns on its body. Zyro Tian carefully counted, exactly 10 stripes, which indicated that the Azure Jade Silkworm in front of him was a 1,000-year spirit beast. This darn system was acting up again. Where did the Azure Jade Silkworm King come from? Chapter 13 System. The host has the qualities of a sword god. Zyro Tian did not rush forward, but pondered for a moment in his heart. The attack power of silkworm-type spirit beasts was not very high. A typical example was the Heavenly Dream Eye Silkworm. Although it possessed both spiritual and ice attributes, their race still had low combat power and were only fit to be food for other spirit beasts. The Azure Jade Silkworm was even more so. It inherently possessed a relatively strong life force, was not very aggressive, and had a large amount of spirit power, making it quite suitable as his first spirit ring. However, the current Azure Jade Silkworm was clearly only a 1,000-year spirit beast, so why did the system say it was a 50,000-year Azure Jade Silkworm King? Combining the system's previous idiotic attributes, even he, foolish as he was, could understand that this system was very likely to have logged in early. In other words, the system had bound him in advance, and at least thousands, or even tens of thousands of years, earlier. Zyro Tian was not stupid. From the system's reminder to be wary of Tang San, Zyro Wu Tang Hao, and others, as well as the prefixes used for them, his guess was very likely correct. Of course, there was still a lack of verification samples. If it was truly as he said, then Saint Spirit Village and Shrek Academy might need a visit. If he guessed correctly, the system would definitely issue corresponding warnings then, and he now somewhat understood the system's nature. As long as he did something unexpected, he should be able to trigger a critical reward. This could be seen from how he defeated Tang San and Zyro Wu, which shocked the system and earned him a reward. Subsequently, Zyro Tian looked at the Azure Jade Silkworm in front of him with a strange expression. Could this small Azure Jade Silkworm really grow into an Azure Jade Silkworm King in the future? Moreover, this was just the small soul hunting forest near New Uding City, which probably didn't even have 10,000-year spirit beasts. However, this wasn't impossible. After all, the Heavenly Dream Eye Silkworm was a living example, having slept its way to a 1,000,000-year cultivation. It was much fiercer than this one, and every spirit beast had its own opportunity. But what of it? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Unfortunately, this Azure Jade Silkworm encountered him, and this was also his own opportunity, which he couldn't let go of. A mere 1,000-year spirit ring, with his current physical quality, he should be able to endure it if he gritted his teeth. It was also because the attack power of silkworm-type spirit beasts was not high, and the spirit rings they produced had relatively weaker oppressive feelings on spirit masters. If it had been any other 1,000-year spirit beast, Zyro Tian would have turned around and left. Sword control technique. Zyro Tian erupted with endless sword intent, swinging 15 with his right hand towards the azure jade silkworm. 15's blade vibrated, emitting a crisp sword cry, and several sword shadows attacked the azure jade silkworm at extreme speed.
Swish, swish, swish.
With the sound of breaking wind and the gushing of blood from the azure jade silkworm's body, Zyro Tian instantly ended the battle. After all, it was a 1,000-year spirit beast, so Zyro Tian did not dare to be careless. He instantly unleashed his full strength, aiming for a single decisive, fatal blow. Whoosh 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 tilde tilde. Zyro Tian couldn't help but pant a few rough breaths. He felt a stinging pain in his head and a dizzy sensation. 15, go up and deliver a few more blows. Although the azure jade silkworm seemed dead, what if? Zyro Tian felt it was still necessary to deliver a few more blows. It was always better to be cautious. But the next moment, the system's shocked voice exploded in Zyro Tian's mind, and he knew there was no need for a finishing blow. Damn, Host is awesome. As expected, this system did not misjudge you. Under this system's guidance, Host, as a spirit scholar, actually killed a 50,000-year azure jade silkworm king. The system is deeply shocked. Host has the potential to become a sword god. Zyro Tian broke into a sweat. Why did these words sound so familiar? My son Wang Teng has the potential of a great emperor. But in the end, Wang Teng was probably cursed out of existence, right? Zyro Tian didn't want to hear that sentence, feeling it would affect his luck. Ding, because Host has once again shocked this system, a critical reward has been triggered. Bottle Spirit Tool, Growable, Army Word Secret, Douluo version. Bottle Spirit Tool, Growable. The amount of spirit power it can provide depends on Host's current level. Its quality increases with Host's strength, and it can store up to Host's current total spirit power. Army Word Secret, Douluo version, able to manipulate all weapons. With Host's proficient use and increased level, it can manipulate any external object, even controlling the opponent as a weapon. Holy cow! System is awesome. You are truly amazing. You are truly my dear father. The Bottle Spirit Tool goes without saying. It solves his current lack of spirit power, and it's also growable. When he reaches the titled Douluo realm, the spirit power this bottle can provide him will definitely be massive. This means he will have double the spirit power, and the enemy will have to face 2 of him at once. And the Army Word Secret is even more self-evident. Being able to manipulate all weapons and external objects, once proficient, his control over 15 will become even more skillful. Of course, this wasn't the main point. The moment he saw this Army Word Secret, Zyro Tian thought, what kind of expression would Tang San have if he tried to use hidden weapons against him in the future, only to find that all his hidden weapons were being used by him? And as his level and proficiency increased, would he be able to control even Tang San's blue-silver grass, since that also belongs to an external object? When Tang San launched his blue-silver grass attack on him, only to find that the blue-silver grass attacked himself uncontrollably, Zyro Tian found the thought of that scene amusing. Subsequently, Zyro Tian held 15 in his right hand, vigilantly scanning his surroundings, and slowly walked towards the azure jade silkworm's corpse. 15, when I absorb the spirit ring later, you'll guard me from the side. If there's any unusual movement, you help me kill it. If we can't defeat it, then take me and escape with sword control technique. Clang 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 tilde tilde. 15 emitted a piercing sword cry, its blade trembling, indicating that it understood. Zyro Tian didn't waste any more words. He dragged the azure jade silkworm's corpse deep into the bushes, then drew out the spirit ring from within its body and began to absorb it. Meanwhile, in another part of the soul-hunting forest, Tang San and Yu Zyrogang were both encountering an attack from a Datura snake. Unfortunately, this time, Yu Zyrogang also fainted. Tang Hao, hidden in the shadows, sighed, preparing to intervene and severely injure the Datura snake for Tang San. However, he then noticed Tang San's gaze suddenly change. He took out a dagger, his hands turned jade black, and his agile figure charged towards the Datra snake. Tang Hao immediately stopped, his eyes incredibly deep. In fact, he had known about Tang San's abnormality for a long time. This was also why he was cold towards Tang San when he first saw his first spirit, blue silver grass, and only truly relaxed when he saw his second spirit, clear sky hammer. This proved that Tang San was his biological son, and also the possessor of twin spirits. That was enough. Chapter 14, Kingmu condenses the soul, Xiao's eyes are red. As for how Tang San made those hidden weapons, and even the skills he learned in the back mountains of the village when he was young, he could completely ignore them. The stronger Tang San became, the happier he would be. When Tang San grew up, it would be time to take revenge on Spirit Hall. Subsequently, Tang Hao also thought of Xiao Wu at Notting A Academy, and he had not expected such a pleasant surprise from secretly protecting Tang San this time. A 100,000-year soul beast that had taken human form. And she happened to be in the same dormitory as Little San, which was simply a free 100,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone. At first, he hadn't thought about whether to directly show himself and capture Xiao Wu, then keep her in captivity. But then he thought better of it. Little San's strength was still relatively weak now, and he couldn't bear the pressure of a 100,000-year spirit ring at all. Unless the spirit beast voluntarily sacrificed itself, that would require Xiao Wu to develop feelings for him, just like Yin, and then willingly sacrifice herself. Thinking of Yin's scene of voluntarily sacrificing herself to him, a slight smile touched his lips. Since he could do it, Little San should be able to do it too. He believed in his son. Tang Hao changed his mind as quickly as flipping a book, even though he had been so cold to Tang San at first. 6 years. During these 6 years that Tang San was studying at Notting Academy, he would not leave for long periods of time, in order to ensure that Xiao Wu remained near Notting Academy. After 6 years, if Xiao Wu planned to separate from Tang San, he would find an opportunity to act. As he thought this, a hint of ruthlessness flashed in Tang Hao's eyes. He didn't feel too sad about Yin's sacrifice. After all, many things in between were secretly orchestrated by him, but he felt that his actions were unfair to Clear Sky Sect, and even more unfair to his father. Spirit Hall was truly too much. To force him to show himself, they even came to his door to threaten him. This led to his father being infuriated to death. It was simply unforgivable. Then Tang Hao thought of Xiao Tian, who had defeated his son, which surprised him. From his conversation with Xiao Wu, he learned that Xiao Tian had grown up with a sword, and his spirit awakening was also an iron sword. And the faint sword intent emanating from him, he had only felt it from one person, and that was Sword Douluo Continent. Aside from his somewhat poor spirit, Tang Hao believed Xiao Tian was a castrated version of Continent in his youth. He was a good sword Dao genius. And since he had come to Notting Academy, it indicated that he had not been invited by Spirit Hall, which meant there was a possibility of him becoming Little San's partner and contributing to Little San's future fight against Spirit Hall. Xiao Tian, what the hell, are you sick? On Xiao Tian's side, the spirit ring absorption lasted for a full half-day, and by the time he had completely absorbed it, the sky had already darkened. Whoosh 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 tilde. Xiao Tian couldn't help but take a long, deep breath and wipe the sweat from his forehead. Fortunately, his willpower was astonishing. He almost couldn't bear it just now. Indeed, a 1,000-year spirit ring is still different from a 100-year spirit ring. Even the relatively weak azure jade silkworm brought a spirit ring pressure that cannot be underestimated. Clang 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 tilde tilde. Seeing his master finally succeed, Sword 15 also happily went limp, its entire sword body swaying from side to side, looking very comical. Xiao Tian thought for a moment, and gave his first spirit ability a name he considered good. Azure Wood Soul Condensation. He wondered if his luck was just better, as this spirit ability perfectly met his need for spirit power amplification. After use, his own spirit power would increase by 200% within half an hour. And it also had a passive effect. Due to the natural attribute of the azure jade silkworm, it improved his efficiency in absorbing and converting spirit power. This surprised Zyro Tian a bit. Wasn't this similar to the continuous effect that Tang San's mysterious heaven skill brought him? Overall, he was already very satisfied with this 1,000-year first spirit ability. It was late, and calculating the time, he hadn't rested for a day and a night, so he wasn't in a hurry to travel. He just took some dry food from his spirit tool to eat and prepared to rest on the spot. What Zyro Tian didn't know was that, inspired by him, Wang Sheng and the others really spread the news that there were 2 spirit masters with innate full spirit power in their dormitory, and stated that they had both already obtained their first spirit ring, trying to make these noble students behave. Zyro Chenyu, who had originally heard that new work-study students had arrived at the academy and was preparing to cause trouble, then heard this news from his subordinates. He immediately hesitated. He didn't care much about innate full spirit power. Although the talent was high, his own strength was still stronger at the moment. But obtaining the first spirit ring, just a few days after enrollment, aroused Zyro Chenyu's vigilance. He immediately sent his subordinates to check on several powerful teachers, and there were no signs of them leaving. This made him somewhat suspicious. Could these 2 people have some background and want to experience life, deliberately pretending to be work-study students to fish? There was no other way. He could only personally go to a more familiar teacher to understand the situation. After inquiring, he found out that the one named Tang San had immediately acknowledged that Grandmaster as his teacher upon enrollment. This made him frown. His father had once said that in the academy, one could provoke anyone, but absolutely not those with a background, and Yu Zyrogang was precisely the one in the academy with a huge background. But his father hadn't explicitly said why. In his opinion, Yu Zyrogang was just a theoretical good-for-nothing who had been stuck at 29th rank for many years. How could he have a great background with that? But when he remembered his father's solemn warning to him at the time, he decided to observe. It definitely wasn't because he was cowardly. Didn't those 2 go to acquire their first spirit ring? Then, after they returned, he would inquire whether they obtained a 10-year spirit ring or a 100-year spirit ring. If they had a big background, their first spirit ring should at least be a 100-year one, right? Zyro Chenyu didn't realize at all that he was also the son of a noble, but his first spirit ring was only a pitiful 10-year spirit ring. Meanwhile, Zyro Wu was packing anxiously. She had planned to ask Zyro Tian where he had gone when he returned in the afternoon, but who would have thought he hadn't returned all day? Wang Sheng, you guys are more familiar with the academy and New Uding City. Let's go together and find out where Zyro Tian might have gone. Zyro Wu directly ordered Wang Sheng and the others, once again transforming into Zyro Wu Jai. Wang Sheng and the others were also somewhat worried about Zyro Tian. When Tang San disappeared, they inquired and knew that he might have gone out with Yu Zyrogang to acquire a spirit ring, but Zyro Tian's innate spirit power was rank 5. Even if 3 months had passed, it would at most rise to rank 7, right? In other words, Zyro Tian couldn't possibly go hunting spirit beasts, and he was alone without a teacher to guide him, so where would he get the courage? Thus, they were also very worried. That afternoon, Zyro Tian calmly walked into the dormitory. Wang Sheng and the others looked as if they had seen a ghost. Everyone stared at Zyro Tian in silence, and those who had been talking collectively fell silent. Zyro Tian felt that the atmosphere seemed a bit off, perhaps a little awkward. He tentatively raised his right hand and waved. "Hi, why aren't you all talking?" "Zyro Tian, where did you disappear to for a whole day? Don't you know how hard we looked for you?" Zyro Wu angrily came before Zyro Tian, her eyes fixed on him. Zyro Tian could clearly see that Zyro Wu's eyes were full of red streaks. Chapter 15 Tang San blushes. Zyro Tian subconsciously touched Zyro Wu's rabbit ears, petted them a bit, and said with a teasing smile, "Are you worried about me? I've only been gone for a day." Zyro Wu was furious, slapped Zyro Tian's hand away, and said with a haughty expression, "Who says so? I'm not worried about you at all. I wanted to find you for a spa. I've already obtained my first spirit ring." Zyro Wu hurriedly changed the subject, though what she said was the truth. Her strength had improved, and she wanted to find an opportunity to spar with Zyro Tian again. Zyro Tian didn't expose her and smiled calmly, of course. When Zyro Wu condensed her first spirit ring, she was at most rank 12, right? His first spirit ring was a 1,000-year Azure Jade Silkworm, which brought him a full 4-rank increase in spirit power. However, he still asked first, hasn't Tang San returned yet? Warning, God of Slaughter Tang Hao. As soon as Zyro Tian finished speaking, he received a reminder from the system. The next moment, Tang San pushed the door open and entered, a confident smile on his face. As soon as Tang San entered, he saw Zyro Wu, whose eyes were slightly red, beside Zyro Tian, and Wang Sheng and the others looking like they didn't dare to speak. His smile froze instantly. What happened to Zyro Wu? Zyro Tian, do you dare to have another spar with me? This time, let's go outdoors. Zyro Tian. No, brother. Are you seriously mentally ill? You just got back and you're looking for a spar. Who gave you the courage, Fish Liang? If it weren't for Tang Hao watching in the shadows, I would really want to beat you until even your parents wouldn't recognize you. Ding, warning, the God King Tang is issuing a battle invitation to the weak host. Please have some self-awareness, host, and concede quickly otherwise, don't wait until he scatters your ashes. Zyro Tian was already used to the system's daily craziness. The system told him to concede, but he insisted on doing the opposite. Fine, I accept. As Zyro Tian said this, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. For some reason, Tang San felt a chill down his spine looking at him. An illusion, it must be an illusion. He had absorbed a 400-year Datra snake under his teacher's guidance, infinitely close to the limit of what a first spirit ring could withstand. Zyro Tian was at most rank 7, how could he fight him? Zyro Tian, yo, bullying the small with the big, and you think you're in the right. Soon, everyone followed behind Zyro Tian and Tang San to an open field in the academy, the very place where the work-study students often clashed with the noble students. Zyro Wu, Wang Sheng, and the others felt like they had forgotten something. The news of Zyro Tian and Tang San's spar was spread by scouts arranged nearby by Zyro Chenyu. Soon, a large crowd gathered, among whom were the noble students led by Zyro Chenyu. Wang Sheng looked at Zyro Chenyu, frowned, and said, Zyro Chenyu, you've come with such a large crowd today, are you looking for trouble? Zyro Chenyu said out of character, No, I'm just bored and came to watch your spar. Zyro Chenyu looked at Zyro Tian and Tang San, who were standing opposite each other, with great interest. He had already heard that Zyro Wu had obtained her first spirit ring, and since Tang San was back, he should have obtained his too. This was a perfect opportunity to see Tang San's strength. He really didn't believe that Zyro Tian, who had no spirit ring, would be Tang San's opponent, even if Tang San's spirit was just blue-silver grass. Zyro Tian looked at the growing crowd and frowned imperceptibly. The feeling of being watched really annoyed him. It felt like he was a monkey. Zyro Tian's sharp gaze met Zyro Chenyu's. Zyro Chenyu subconsciously took a few steps back, a deep sense of fear rising in his heart. Something is wrong, extremely wrong. Did he get the wrong script? Why would Zyro Tian, whose spirit power rank was lower than his, bring him fear? He felt that this time he might have misjudged the situation. Tang San might not necessarily win. On the field, Tang San was calm and confident as he said, Tang San's spirit blue-silver grass, rank 12 control system battle spirit master. Zyro Tian just said 2 words, indifferently. Zyro Tian. Tang San didn't mind Zyro Tian's cold attitude, assuming he just felt embarrassed by his own rank. Only then did Zyro Wu react, looking at Zyro Tian angrily. She had been led astray by Zyro Tian just now. He still hadn't explained why he disappeared alone for the whole day. However, now was not the time to talk about that. Zyro Wu said to Zyro Tian with some worry, Zyro Tian, how about I fight Tang San? After all, you just got back and need to rest, and besides. Some things were better left unsaid. Zyro Wu knew that Zyro Tian's innate talent wasn't high, but she didn't mean to mock him. On the contrary, she knew that as long as Zyro Tian was given time, he would definitely become a very powerful spirit master later on. Tang San looked at Zyro Wu in shock, his expression almost uncontrollable. No, the reason I'm challenging Zyro Tian is partly because of you. What do you mean by this? Zyro Tian looked at the gaze Tang San cast his way and couldn't help but smile. What are you laughing at? To Tang San, Zyro Tian's smile was clearly mocking him. Oh, nothing, I just suddenly thought of a very funny joke. Zyro Tian immediately composed his expression. What he had just thought of was the simp emperor, Fei Yangyang. Zyro Wu's words just now were a bit like Mei Yang Yang from that show. Mei Yang Yang, ayo, Fei Yang Yang, what are you doing? You are not allowed to talk about Zai Yang Yang like that. Zai Yang Yang has no strength left. Fei Yang Yang, hurry up and help push from behind, and so on. The next moment, Sword 15 appeared in Zyro Tian's right hand, and Zyro Tian said arrogantly to Tang San, Tang San, I'll let you make the first move. Everyone.
Tang San.
No, brother. Can't you see the situation clearly? Zyro Wu felt that Zyro Tian seemed to have become much more arrogant after not seeing him for a day, but she didn't feel annoyed. In fact, there was even a strange stirring in her heart. Tang San saw Zyro Tian so calm and indifferent, and immediately felt insulted. Tang San was silent. Tang San blushed.
Tang San attacked.
First spirit ability, blue-silver binding. Zyro Tian, you will pay the price for your arrogance. Damn, opening with the signature binding. Boom! After entering battle mode, Zyro Tian became completely silent. His whole aura changed abruptly, and a burst of sword intent suddenly radiated from his body.
Careful!
Zyro Wu couldn't help but exclaim. Tang San could already see the scene of Zyro Tian being bound by his blue-silver grass. After absorbing his first spirit ring, his blue-silver grass had evolved barbs and carried paralytic toxin. Although it was useless against high-level spirit masters, for Zyro Tian, who had a lower spirit power rank, one prick would shut him up for good. Just when everyone thought Zyro Tian was going to get hit, a strange change suddenly occurred. Chapter 16. If heaven had not given birth to me, Zyro Tianlang, the sword path would have been as dark as the night forever. Swords come. Putting everything else aside, although blue-silver grass is useless, its growth rate is still astonishing. Just when everyone thought Zyro Tian was motionless and about to be bound by the blue-silver grass in front of him, Zyro Tian's entire aura changed, and an endless sword intent emanated from his body. Its sharpness made the onlookers feel a stinging pain on their faces, as if thorny brambles had scraped across them. Most of the less powerful students had faint blood marks cut into their exposed skin. Zyro Chenyu looked at the neat holes in his clothes in shock, then looked at Zyro Tian with a stunned expression. As expected, his premonition was correct. Zyro Tian was actually the strongest person in Dorm 7. Sword intent permeated Zyro Tian's body, just as the blue-silver grass was about to touch his body.
Bang!
Those blue-silver grasses were like paper, not even touching a single hair on Zyro Tian, and were directly torn to shreds by that sword intent.
Tang San.
No way, buddy. This script isn't right, is it? This spar did not proceed, as Tang San had anticipated. Shouldn't Zyro Tian have been bound by his blue-silver binding, then poisoned with paralysis, only to beg him in front of everyone to cure him? This would achieve his goal, allowing him to avenge his previous failures, make Zyro Tian lose face in front of everyone, and also make Zyro Wu look at him in a new light. Strong individuals are attracted to each other. Zyro Wu, like him, had innate full spirit power, and she was also very cute. Although he didn't know what that feeling in his heart was, he wanted to attract Zyro Wu's attention. But now, his blue-silver grass actually shattered. Didn't his teacher tell him that the control system completely counters the attack system? Especially these attack system tool spirits. As long as their spirit is bound immediately, it's equivalent to winning half the battle, and there's basically no room for resistance afterward. Therefore, the main purpose of his blue-silver grass was to first control the sword in Zyro Tian's hand. Who would have thought? At this moment, Yu Zyrogang also happened to arrive and witnessed this unbelievable scene. His proud closed-door disciple, after obtaining his first spirit ring, still couldn't defeat Zyro Tian. The aura emanating from him was so familiar, he seemed to have felt it from sword Douluo Continent, but Zyro Tian's was clearly much weaker. It seems to be sword intent. But why would it appear on a 6-year-old child? Seeing the shocked expressions of the onlookers, Zyro Tian felt great. A leaf of blue-silver grass fell on Zyro Tian, and he pretended to brush it off. Then looked at the flushed Tang San and chuckled. No way, Tang San, don't tell me this is your first spirit ability. A plant spirit's first spirit ability is binding, don't make me laugh to death. Isn't this the plant spirit's natural instinct? You actually obtained such a trashy spirit ability, and you even confidently challenged me. Boom! After Zyro Tian pointed this out, Zyro Wu and the others also reacted. That's right, blue-silver grass as a plant spirit can naturally bind. Adding such a spirit ring merely allows for a bit more control, but in their opinion, the disadvantages outweigh the benefits, right? Tang San looked at the expressions of the people around him, frowned and retorted, who said that, my first spirit ring also imbued my blue-silver grass with paralyzing poison, and it also increased the toughness of the blue-silver grass. Zyro Tian pointed to the fragments of blue-silver grass on the ground, looking at Tang San with an innocent expression. This is what you mean by increased toughness. Sorry, I really can't see it at all.
Tang San.
Even with a soul of over 20 years old in Tang San's body. Oh no, adding this life, a soul of over 30 years old, he couldn't withstand Zyro Tian's barrage of mockery. His insults were truly vile. He Tang San was truly broken. Since his spirit ability was useless against Zyro Tian, then. Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. Mysterious Jade Hand. Purple Demon Eye. Tang San approached Zyro Tian at an extremely fast speed in a serpentine path, and the onlookers could even see faint afterimages left behind after Tang San left his original spot. He was getting serious. Zyro Tian had made him look so bad, he was going to make Zyro Tian pay. Zyro Tian saw Tang San's purple eyes and knew that Tang San was going to go berserk. He had thought that Zyro Wu would have to get hurt for him to use his full strength, but this works too, doesn't it? So scared, not. Drunken immortal gazing at the moon step. Sword control technique. Zyro Tian used his light body technique to distance himself from Tang San, and following Tang San's direction, he maintained a constant distance. During this time, Zyro Tian multitasked, or rather, Sword 15 autonomously led a portion, instantly creating a dozen sword shadows in front of him, attacking Tang San. Tang San was already prepared for this and said coldly, Zyro Tian, you don't think I'll fall in the same place twice, do you? Tang San instantly built several layers of blue-silver grass in front of him as protection, because he knew that a single layer probably wouldn't be enough to block it. But he still miscalculated. These sword shadows passed through as if entering an uninhabited land, leaving no grass untouched wherever they went. Mere blue-silver grass, of course, was all shattered. But it did block them for a moment, which was enough for Tang San to change direction, and he also summoned blue-silver grass behind Zyro Tian, attempting to control him. He refused to believe that Zyro Tian, in such a situation, could still pay attention to what was behind him. Unfortunately, Tang San's wishful thinking was ultimately in vain. Just then, 3 very calm sentences came out of Zyro Tian's mouth. If heaven had not given birth to me, Zyro Tianlang, the sword Dao would be like an eternal night. Sword come. Boom. The next moment, the sword intent on Zyro Tian's body suddenly erupted, even more violently than before, gushing out from within him. Sword intent perfected. 15, nourished by this sword intent, trembled with joyful anticipation. Sword Kai rampaged across the field. Zyro Chenyu and the others' hearts skipped a beat. For their own lives, they very timidly ran into the distance, hiding behind trees, watching cautiously. Zyro Tian stopped. The blue-silver grass simply couldn't get close. Dense sword intent formed a protective layer around his body, and he continuously swung his long sword with his right hand, slashing towards Tang San. Facing the terrifying sword Kai and sword intent, Tang San couldn't get close at all. There wasn't a single intact spot on his whole body, and blood flowed continuously. Immortal Wind Cloud Body Technique. Zyro Tian split into several body phantoms. With the enhancement of his light body technique, thousands of Zyro Tians instantly appeared on the field, making it impossible to distinguish which one was real. Tang San's activated purple demon eye continuously scanned these phantoms, trying to find Zyro Tian's true body, sneering inwardly. His purple demon eye specialized in countering all kinds of illusions. His chance had come. Unfortunately, the next moment, he felt a cold sensation on his neck. Chapter 17. The bigger the waves, the more expensive the fish. At this point, Tang San truly didn't dare to move. He said stiffly, "How is that possible? how could you escape my eyes' lock? At this moment, all the illusions created by Zyro Tian on the field vanished. Zyro Tian said disdainfully, "What eyes? Just those eyes of yours that suddenly turn purple. Haven't you heard the saying speed is everything? Your eyes simply can't keep up with my speed. Do you still want to continue?" As Zyro Tian spoke, sword 15 in his hand moved even closer to Tang San. For the sake of his life, Tang San said unwillingly, "I surrender." At this moment, as Zyro Tian expected, the voice of the silly system echoed in his mind again. "Holy cow, host is awesome. You actually defeated Tang God King again, and it was Tang God King who used binding. This system is shocked again. But host, this system thinks it's necessary to remind you again. The god of slaughter Tang Hao almost couldn't resist making a move just now, if your sword had really gone down." Zyro Tian naturally understood this point in his heart, but he only said one thing to the system. "System, do you know there's a saying among fishermen, the bigger the waves, the more expensive the fish. This is high risk, high reward, so where's the reward?" Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering a critical reward, obtaining 3 absolute sword kai and a god-bestowed spirit ring. Good, it was just as he thought, high risk, high reward. He wondered if every time he abused Tang San, he could trigger a critical reward. Suddenly, Zyro Tian's eyes lit up as he looked at the pale-faced Tang San. Tang San immediately felt a chill down his spine, with a bad premonition. However, although he lost today's duel, he wasn't without gains. Zyro Tian used a new self-created spirit ability today, which could generate so many illusions. He definitely had to ask about it when he had a chance. Subsequently, Tang San forced a smile at Zyro Tian and said, "Zyro Tian, you are truly amazing. I am utterly convinced of my defeat. That was sword intent just now, wasn't it? It suddenly improved. My loss is not unjust." Did Tang San think he couldn't hear the hidden meaning in his words? "If your sword intent hadn't suddenly broken through during the battle, I would have definitely won in the end." Unexpectedly, Tang San was quite a tea master. "It's fine, this is perfect." Zyro Tian chuckled as he looked at Tang San. "Yes, if my sword intent hadn't suddenly broken through, I might have really lost. Tang San, I've found that every time I fight you, I improve. For the next 6 years, I'll occasionally look for you to spar. You wouldn't mind, would you? After all, you have innate full spirit power. You wouldn't refuse the request of a fellow student with innate 5th level spirit power, would you? Competing in tea, as if anyone couldn't do it." Tang San's mouth twitched. He finally understood why he felt a chill down his spine. He really had a loose tongue. He could only force a smile. Of course, I couldn't be more delighted." However, since it was like this, he could only accept it. He didn't believe he would keep losing. Moreover, by taking this opportunity to build a good relationship, he could also find a chance to ask about Zyro Tian's situation and determine whether Zyro Tian was from another world like him. He didn't believe Zyro Tian was that smart, truly capable of creating so many spirit abilities on his own. Even he couldn't do it, and he had also subtly inquired from Grandmaster that this world simply had no such things as cultivation techniques or martial skills, only simple spirit power cultivation paths. "Zyro Tian, can you tell me now if you are willing to be my outer disciple? I see you have good comprehension. Although your innate spirit power is a bit low, you actually comprehended sword intent. I guess you don't know yet, but I am the corner of wisdom among the famous golden triangle of the continent. When I traveled the continent, I also met many powerful spirit masters who used sword spirits, including Sword Douluo Continent of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Your current sword intent is too weak compared to his. If you acknowledge me as your Grandmaster, I can tell you that I also have quite a bit of insight in this area." Zyro Tian looked at Yu Zyrogang's narcissistic and arrogant appearance, feeling extremely speechless in his heart. "You understand the sword." At this moment, Yu Zyrogang was overjoyed. Although Tang San's defeat was somewhat unexpected to him, he also confirmed that Zyro Tian's spirit, like his spirit Liu San Pao, possessed independent consciousness. Such a commoner spirit master with no background, average talent, and heaven-defying comprehension was very suitable to be his research subject. Zyro Tian this time did not act as rudely as before. After figuring out the system's reward mechanism, he believed that it was not advisable to have too serious a conflict with Yu Zyrogang at this time. Why? Because he was kind. After all, they would often see each other. he still had to study at Notting Academy for 6 years. During these 6 years, he could relentlessly fleece Tang San. Zyro Tian, you Zyrogang, you really should thank your disciple Tang San for being useful to me. And so, Zyro Tian said very tactfully, Grandmaster, you are a famous theoretical grandmaster on the continent, and also the corner of wisdom in the Golden Triangle. I heard that your Trinity fusion ability was also led by you. Tang San has innate full spirit power, and it's not a loss for you to take him as a disciple. If the world knew that you took me, someone with innate 5th level spirit power, as a disciple, they might look down on you. Therefore, please forgive me, but I cannot accept your request. However, I am also quite thick-skinned. During these 6 years, could I occasionally come to you for guidance on using the sword? Zyro Tian's words greatly praised Yu Zyrogang. You are such a famous person, you can't possibly take an ordinary commoner spirit master like me as a disciple, or you'd lose face. And as everyone knows, Yu Zyrogang is a person who cares immensely about his reputation. Yu Zyrogang's face twitched. It was truly like that. The reason he stayed at Notting Academy for many years, besides wanting to avoid Liu Erlong, was also to see if there were any students who caught his eye. Good news, he found this student this year. It was Tang San, who possessed twin spirits and innate full spirit power. He could take him as a disciple and use him to prove the correctness of his theories to the world, to prove that he was not a good-for-nothing, and that his spirit theory was the best in the entire continent. Bad news, Tang San had a background. Behind him was the terrifying clear sky Douluo, which meant that if he wanted to test his theories, he had to ask for Tang San's own consent. All right, since that's the case, I won't force you. If you have a chance, come to my office with Tang San for a chat. Yu Zyrogang could only give up, then left the place with Tang San. Zyro Tian, you are really strong. By the way, what level of spirit power are you now? Zyro Wu finally dared to step forward. The powerful sword intent that Zyro Tian suddenly unleashed earlier made her not dare to approach rashly. She was now curious about Zyro Tian's spirit power level, wondering why he was so strong. Even if he could use such powerful sword intent, it wouldn't work without spirit power support, would it? Chapter 18 Zyro Wu, no, don't come over here. Chapter 18 Zyro Wu, no, don't come over here. At this moment, an impossible thought suddenly popped into Zyro Wu's mind. Had Zyro Tian been gone for the past day and a half to obtain his first spirit ring? Zyro Tian said with a slightly playful tone, guess. After saying this, Zyro Tian glanced at Zyro Chenyu in the distance, his eyes filled with a warning. If he dared to bring people over to Gork again next time, he would beat him so badly that even his own father wouldn't recognize him. Zyro Wu stomped her feet in anger, but her curiosity about Zyro Tian only grew. What kind of person was Zyro Tian, exactly? Taiwan novel website has a complete library, the choice is yours. Zyro Tian first returned to his dormitory to take a shower, then found a secluded and spacious spot in the academy to start practicing. However, he was not in a hurry to learn the 3 absolute sword kai provided by the system. Instead, he recalled the scenes of Tang San using the ghost shadow perplexing track and other Tang sect ultimate techniques in his mind. First was the ghost shadow perplexing track. Due to his increased comprehension ability, Zyro Tian was able to replicate it quite easily, but he always felt something was missing. It had the form, but not the intent. Later, he gave up because he knew the reason. These Tang sect ultimate techniques of Tang San were derived based on the mysterious heavens skill, and he did not know Tang San's cultivation technique. Then he had a change of heart and thought, forget it. He had only tried it out of curiosity in the first place. He didn't really have much interest in Tang San's cultivation technique and ultimate moves. It wasn't like only Tang San had a cheat, he had one too. Furthermore, the footwork and sword moves provided by the system, which one wasn't stronger than Tang San's? Subsequently, he started practicing the 3 absolute sword kai. Since Zyro Tian already understood how to release sword kai, he quickly learned how to use the 3 absolute sword kai, and even directly comprehended the 7 absolute sword kai. However, after unleashing the 7 absolute sword kai, more than half of his spirit power was consumed. Zyro Tian couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It truly lived up to its reputation as an ultimate technique of the Lin family castle. The power was quite impressive. Once his strength improved, the power of this 7 absolute sword kai would definitely be even stronger. This was the benefit of a self-created spirit ability. Although the power of a spirit ability granted by a spirit ring varies depending on the strength of the user, due to the limitation of the spirit ring's age, no matter how strong it is, it cannot compare to a spirit ring of a higher age. Therefore, in battles between strong individuals in the late stage, they rarely use century-level or even millennium-level spirit rings, unless those spirit rings provide buff-type spirit abilities. Zyro Tian thought to himself, since the 7 Absolute Sword Kai was a hereditary ultimate technique of the Lin family castle, and that world was a cultivation world, it must be more advanced than Tang San's original Wuxia world. In that case, Tang San's Tang sect ultimate techniques were simply not worth mentioning in front of moves like the 7 Absolute Sword Kai or the Immortal Wind Cloud Body technique. He had actually been curious enough to try them earlier. Thinking about it now, he really had been foolish. It felt a bit like picking up sesame seeds only to lose the watermelon. Just then Zyro Wu finally found Zyro Tian here. She walked over, looking a bit huffy, and said, "Zyro Tian, if I win against you, how about you tell me what rank your spirit power is?" Zyro Tian was finding this a bit difficult to handle. Why was Zyro Wu so persistent? Thus, Zyro Tian rolled his eyes, then said, "Then if you lose, how about you go with me to the Spirit Hall branch in Newding City? You can go collect your Spirit Master subsidy. You can't keep eating my food forever, right? Relying just on the bronze coins you earn as a work-study student, it's probably only enough for your own meals." The expression on Zyro Wu's face instantly froze. Zyro Wu was silent. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Zyro Wu spoke up. "Fine, as long as you beat me, I will go to the Spirit Hall to collect the subsidy every month from now on," Zyro Wu said, having made up her mind. Zyro Tian. Hey buddy, why aren't you playing by the rules? You just really need to know my rank, huh? Don't you hate the Spirit Hall? If that's the case, I actually suggest you forget it. If you accept the subsidy and later, for some unknown reason, you take revenge on the Spirit Hall, I would think you're an ingrate. Even though we've only known each other for a few days, in my impression, you, Zyro Wu, should be a lively, cheerful, and competitive girl. What Zyro Tian said touched the depths of Zyro Wu's heart. Zyro Wu took a deep breath and said, "I can promise that if I accept the Spirit Hall's subsidy, and if there comes a time when that person could be killed by me, I am willing to spare her life." Zyro Wu had truly made a very difficult decision. If she really grew to have the ability to kill Bibai Dong later, and had the opportunity to kill her, then she would be willing to spare her for the sake of today's promise, just as a form of repayment. Holy crap. Awesome. Zyro Tian felt that Zyro Wu's decision was somewhat unexpected. Of course, no matter how hard Zyro Wu tried, it was impossible for her to defeat Bibai Dong with her own strength. Things being this way was actually a good thing. Zyro Wu now had the motivation to cultivate, and there was room for maneuver in the situation. When he meets Bibai Dong in the future, he can just ask her to release Aru's soul, and everything will be explainable. Using the setting from the God Realm side story, Zyro Wu's mother disappeared after going to the Great Fierce Land, and was not killed by Bibai Dong. Just mentioning this in advance. Zyro Tian, I was wrong, don't spank my butt anymore. Zyro Wu was in so much pain that tears were about to fall. It was clear that she had lost her sparring match against Zyro Tian, and Zyro Tian wasn't just making her go to the Spirit Hall branch to collect the subsidy, he was also spanking her. And he was really not showing any mercy or tenderness. His palm was hitting her with a series of thwacks. Only now did she remember what Zyro Tian had said a couple of days ago. If she lost the match, she shouldn't blame him for spanking her. She had forgotten about that. The boomerang had finally struck her. In the end, Zyro Wu clutched her slightly painful butt, her eyes brimming with tears as she said, "Zyro Tian, can't you be a little gentler? It must be red now." Zyro Tian felt completely refreshed now and said cheekily, "This was what you said yourself earlier. What's the matter? How about I take a look and apply some medicine for you?" Zyro Wu gritted her teeth and said hatefully, "You're not a sword cultivator, you're a shameless cultivator." Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian pretended not to understand. Anyway, there wasn't much difference between the two words. If he was shameless, then so be it. It could just serve as a diversion from his usual cultivation. Otherwise, life would be far too monotonous, wouldn't it? Ding host, you've shocked this system again, damn it. To think you'd treat the God King Tang's wife like this, and it seems you've even made her develop a slight fondness for you. However, this system just loves it. Critical reward triggered, obtained cornucopia, and the method to use spirit abilities without displaying spirit rings. Cornucopia randomly produces bronze coins, silver coins, and gold coins every day. Holy crap! This time, what shocked Zyro Tian wasn't the 2 rewards given by the system, but rather the fact that he could also obtain rewards by defeating Zyro Wu. Oh wait, that's debatable. Was it defeating Zyro Wu that granted the reward? Or was it making Zyro Wu develop a fondness for him that granted the reward? Zyro Wu noticed that Zyro Tian's eyes had suddenly lit up as he looked at her, wearing an inexplicable smile, and she immediately felt her butt starting to hurt again. Zyro Wu, how about we spar again? No, don't come over here. Zyro Wu was instantly on the verge of tears. She really was asking for it. Chapter 19. The improvement of sword intent can speed up the improvement of soul power in the Ganges, right? Of course, Zyro Tian was just joking. He wasn't that desperate. The rewards he'd already received were enough for him to digest for a while, and he had just finished a fight, so too much would be counterproductive. And with such a treasure trove, Zyro Tian wasn't in a hurry to go to Newton City's Spirit Hall branch to register his spirit power and receive Spirit Hall's subsidy. In fact, he had no intention of registering at all right now. Soon a year passed. During this year, Zyro Tian would occasionally torment Tang San and spar with Zyro Wu, and his own strength had improved by leaps and bounds. However, it was regrettable that he hadn't received many good rewards from the system during this year. This made him a little confused. Did the system give too many rewards at the beginning, causing it to become weak in the middle? Initially, this system would even remind him not to constantly flirt with death, lest Tang Hao see his son continuously losing and decide to act. Zyro Tian, however, didn't think much of it. As long as he didn't go too far, Tang Hao might even be grateful to him. Grateful that he ignited Tang San's fighting spirit, making him cultivate even harder. Therefore, after tormenting Tang San about 10 times, Zyro Tian would intentionally reveal a flaw, making Tang San believe he was close to defeating him, thus keeping him on the hook. Zyro Tian, Zyro Wu, tomorrow is the holiday. Do you have any plans? I'm going back to the village to see my father. If you two are free, would you like to come with me? Tang San extended the invitation to both of them, but his gaze kept drifting towards Zyro Wu. Zyro Wu didn't speak, but looked at Zyro Tian. She would go wherever Zyro Tian went. Her spirit power had increased the fastest among the 3 this year, but regrettably, she was still no match for Zyro Tian, and she didn't even know what level of spirit power Zyro Tian possessed. Then why did she know her cultivation was the highest? Naturally, it was Zyro Tian who revealed it. Although she would get spanked every time she was defeated by Zyro Tian, she gradually found that she seemed to be getting used to it, and after each time, she had an indescribable feeling that allowed her to concentrate more on her cultivation afterward. Zyro Tian was silent for a moment, then finally nodded in agreement. Anyway, the holiday was quite long. He could first follow Tang San to Saint Spirit Village, and then return to Craftsman Soul Village to see Grandpa Village Chief. Seeing Zyro Wu seeking Zyro Tian's opinion, Tang San felt a bit displeased inside, but he endured it. After a year, he had finally somewhat integrated into Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu's group. When the time was right, he should be able to ask Zyro Tian those more private questions, right? Even now, he didn't believe that Zyro Tian was truly that strong, capable of possessing multiple sword skills, and he still didn't know what Zyro Tian's spirit abilities were. Every time he asked, Zyro Tian would say, I am a sword cultivator. I don't value spirit abilities, only the sword intent. As long as my sword Dao improves, it also helps with the improvement of my spirit power cultivation. Zyro Tian was subtly brainwashing Tang San and Zyro Wu. After all, his cultivation couldn't be hidden for too long. When it was exposed, he would need a legitimate and suitable reason. I'm following another path of cultivation. Does the improvement of sword intent, accelerating my spirit power cultivation speed, not make sense? I think it makes perfect sense. Hey, dare you expose me? Moreover, he had a purpose in going to Saint Spirit Village this time, if he wasn't mistaken. Early the next morning, the three set off. Along the way, the three were not in a hurry to travel, but walked and stopped, only arriving at Saint Spirit Village at noon the next day. As soon as they arrived at Saint Spirit Village, Tang San couldn't wait and rushed directly to his house, shouting loudly,
"Dad, I'm back."
And as soon as he stepped into Saint Spirit Village, as he expected, the system's voice once again exploded in his mind. Ding, warning, warning, the Douluo Plains core of life, integrated into the ancient tree of life, Yin, has been discovered in the back mountain cave of Saint Spirit Village. Her strength is extremely powerful. The host is advised to keep a low profile. After so many warnings, although the system already knew that its host was not a low-key person, it had professional ethics, and it still had to admonish. A faint smile appeared at the corner of Zyro Tian's mouth. Sure enough, as he expected, if he took Yin away from Saint Spirit Village and needed her freely, would he also be able to trigger the system's critical strike reward? Of course, it would be very proper needing. His taste wasn't that heavy yet. And he could also freeload 100,000-year blue-silver emperor right leg bone. However, if he remembered correctly, that place was set up with a formation by Tang Hao. If the box containing the blue-silver emperor leg bone was moved, Tang Hao would immediately sense it. No rush, no rush, he had plenty of patience. Anyway, according to the current situation, Tang Hao wouldn't give Tang San the 100,000-year spirit bone in advance until his level reached 40 or 50. And old Jack heard the sound and walked out of the house. Seeing Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu at the village entrance, he smiled and nodded. "You two must be Little San's classmates, right? Come with me, let's go find Little San together." Zyro Tian and the other also nodded and followed behind. This was his first time seeing old Jack. He was indeed as amiable as described in the original work. Subsequently, old Jack naturally gave Tang San a letter left by Tang Hao, telling him that his father had left for something. Zyro Tian secretly chuckled. Tang Hao left for nothing, he was just hiding nearby. Tang San looked at the letter and took a deep breath. He knew that his father must be hiding something from him. He guessed that his father was very likely also a hidden expert, just like those sweeping monks in the sect in his previous life, looking inconspicuous but actually one of the most powerful people in the sect. Moreover, he had studied theoretical knowledge with his teacher for a year, so he naturally knew that the inheritance of spirit came from parents, and the stronger the spirit, the higher the innate spirit power. His spirits were blue silver grass and clear sky hammer, which were his mother's and father's spirits. And not only his father, but even his teacher said that he must not reveal the clear sky hammer spirit unless absolutely necessary. Could it be that there would be serious consequences after showing the clear sky hammer spirit to outsiders? Like being hunted down by others. Tang San was not a superficial child. The Tang sect he came from in his previous life was an assassin sect, so he understood such matters even more. Tang San murmured, "Dad, wait for me. I will cultivate diligently. Sooner or later, I will be strong enough for you to tell me the truth yourself." However, since his father had already left Saint Spirit Village, there was no need for him to return again in the future. Tang San wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and thanked old Jack faintly. Chapter 20, 0 frame start, should I just leave? Tang San looked at Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu, smiling again. "Zyro Tian, Zyro Wu, I'm sorry for letting you see that scene. If you don't mind, why don't you stay at my place tonight? I'll take you around the village today." Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu exchanged a glance, and a thought simultaneously appeared in their minds. Tang San's face-changing speed is quite fast, isn't it? Just a moment ago, facing old Jack, he was expressionless. Facing them, he instantly put on a smiling face. After saying goodbye to old Jack, Tang San took the two of them wandering around Saint Spirit Village, and soon brought them to the back mountain. Tang San smiled and said, "After my spirit awakening, I have been cultivating in this back mountain. It's quite spacious, and there is blue-silver grass everywhere, which is very suitable for my cultivation." Zyro Tian, bullshit. You've been cultivating in this back mountain since you could remember, right? It's just that Yin can't speak. Otherwise, she would definitely have many doubts in her mind. Why is her son so precocious? And why was he practicing something even before his spirit awakening? She couldn't understand it at all. only knowing that it looked a bit like a spirit ability. At this moment, Tang San suddenly turned his head and said to Zyro Wu, "Zyro Wu, I don't have any family left now. Can you be my younger sister?" Holy crap. 0 frame start. Zyro Tian. Tang Hao hidden in the shadows, I only left, I'm not dead. Tang Hao forcibly suppressed the urge to appear and beat his own son up. Zyro Wu was also completely stunned. Are you kidding, brother? Which eye did you see that I really wanted you to be my brother? No. Zyro Wu came back to her senses and coldly spat out these 2 words. Zyro Tian sighed in his heart. Tang San really lived up to being a killer in his past life. He was probably still a virgin even at death, right? In all likelihood, he hadn't even touched a woman's hand. Is he really that dense? No, that's not right. This can't even be called dense. It can be said that he has 0 emotional intelligence. But in the original work, Tang San's emotional intelligence isn't actually that low. Could it be that after just 1 year of simple interaction, Tang San has fallen for Zyro Wu, and love makes people lose their minds? Zyro Tian felt like he was a bit of a third wheel here. Should I just leave? Seeing Tang San ruthlessly rejected by Zyro Wu, he kept a poker face on the outside, but on the inside, he was holding back laughter so hard it was painful. Why, Zyro Wu, can you tell me the reason? Didn't you say you are all alone now too? That's perfect. Now that my father is gone, the 2 of us could actually try being siblings. Don't worry, as long as you are my sister, if you encounter danger, I will definitely stand in front of you. Tang San also didn't expect to be rejected. In this year, the relationship between the 3 of them should have been very good, right? That's what Tang San thought. Zyro Tian replied in his heart, and then you repay me with your spirit ring and spirit bone. Oh right, I also want Da Ming and Ming's spirit ring and spirit bone. Zyro Tian was daydreaming a bit, directly filling in the next sentence for Tang San. Some blogger on a short video site in his past life had remixed it like this. That level of realism made everyone suspect. Had this blogger actually seen the real original work? It really had 0 sense of dissonance. As everyone knows, generally, the reason others get along well with you is mostly because you are a friend's friend, not her friend. And the reason Zyro Wu got along so peacefully with Tang San was that she felt, although Zyro Tian fought Tang San every day, they had fought their way to friendship, right? She was friends with Zyro Tian, and Zyro Tian was friends with Tang San, so she could also treat Tang San as a friend. That was the feeling. But that didn't mean she really treated Tang San as a friend. At the same time, at this moment, Zyro Wu's eyes secretly glanced at Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian once said he was an orphan, adopted by an old village chief named Luke. If the roles were swapped and Zyro Tian wanted her to be his sister, would she agree? She couldn't really explain it herself. She only knew she really liked the feeling of cultivating with Zyro Tian. Even now, thinking about how she received punishment every time she lost a spar to him, and how that place still throbbed faintly, there was a strange feeling. Seeing Tang San still asking why, Zyro Tian immediately smoothed things over. Tang San, isn't it fine for us to get along like this now? We are all friends. Why do you insist on Zyro Wu being your sister? Does being your sister provide any extra benefits? Tang San's expression also stiffened, and finally he sighed. No, it's just because my father is suddenly gone and I'm in a bad mood, so I said those things. I'm sorry. Seeing that his impromptu plan had failed, Tang San felt a bit disappointed. He originally thought the probability of this plan succeeding should be 70 or 80%. He didn't expect to be rejected by Zyro Wu so directly. Zyro Tian, only 70 or 80%. Even if it was 98%, it's no different from courting death. However, just now Tang San noticed that Zyro Wu's eyes had glanced at Zyro Tian for a fleeting moment. Tang San was wondering if it was because his strength was weaker than Zyro Tian's, and women are inherently attracted to strength. That's just a girl's nature. Unless the other party truly has some advantages that attract you more, you wouldn't accompany them to grow together and bet your life on them. Although he hadn't dated or anything in his past life, as a killer, he had seen and heard many things like this, so he actually knew quite a bit. Tang San was very conflicted in his heart now. Over the past year, because of Zyro Tian's pressure, he had been extremely desperate. Every day, besides blacksmithing, it was just cultivating and sparring, a strict routine. Now, in his spirit tool, there were already a few small hidden weapons, such as silver needles and the silent sleeve dart. Should he expose them now to let Zyro Wu know that he was actually much stronger than Zyro Tian? Who tilde. Zyro Tian, look, it's been about a week since we sparred. Why don't we take advantage of the space here and spar once more today? Tang San said to Zyro Tian with a smile. He had decided, if he was going to expose them, so be it. He could already make all the hidden weapons he was capable of. The next hidden weapon would be the godly huge crossbow, but he hadn't found suitable ore, so he had to let it go for now. He had also thought carefully about exposing the hidden weapons. This world didn't have the concept of hidden weapons. If Zyro Tian really possessed memories of his past life like him and came from the same Wuxia world, he would definitely recognize such things, and might even subconsciously say it out loud. Even if he held back, as long as there was even a trace of anomaly, his purple demon eye would definitely spot it. This was Tang San's probe. Chapter 21, Ghostly Phantom. There is no attack that cannot be avoided, only a kiss that cannot be avoided. Something's wrong, very wrong, 12 parts wrong out of 10. Is Tang San going crazy again? Then Zyro Tian glanced at Zyro Wu, feeling a bit helpless. Was this considered a femme fatale? He probably guessed what Tang San wanted to do, nothing more than to defeat him and make Zyro Wu change her mind. It seems the hidden weapons should be making an appearance now, right? Zyro Tian could only laugh at Tang San's naivety. He truly lived up to his assassin's mindset. All right then, come on Tang San. I advise you to use your full strength, or else, even if you try 10,000 times, you won't be my opponent. Tang San's current thought was that he felt he was close to defeating Zyro Tian. In recent battles, he had been narrowing the gap every time. This time, if he used his hidden weapons, wouldn't defeating Zyro Tian be a sure thing? There's a kind of illusion in the world called, "This time, I'm definitely going to win." Seeing the two of them at loggerheads, Zyro Wu immediately knew she was the cause of the trouble. She glared at Tang San and secretly shot Zyro Tian an apologetic look. The two stood facing each other. Tang San immediately started with a binding, a large amount of blue-silver grass binding towards Zyro Tian. Zyro Tian yawned boredly, his sword intent surging through his body, and the blue-silver grass still couldn't get close to him. Tang San, just use your full strength. You're really a bit weak like this. I'm truly losing interest. Zyro Tian continuously taunted Tang San. Tang San was long used to Zyro Tian's foul mouth. Now, he wasn't as impulsive as before. His heart was as still as water, and he wouldn't get hot-headed anymore. Tang San, if you don't defeat me with absolute strength, you won't be able to catch Zyro Wu's attention, you know. Zyro Tian said, even winking at Zyro Wu beside him. Zyro Wu pouted, her baby-faced cheeks glaring at Zyro Tian with a fierce, yet harmless expression. For Zyro Tian, it was a kind of enjoyment instead. Such a cute face, if he punched it, she'd probably cry for a long time, right? Holy crap. Zyro Tian suddenly realized, it seemed he had some tendencies, what to do. Every time he made Zyro Wu cry, seeing her teary-eyed, he felt a wave of satisfaction. When she cried, she looked so adorable. Zyro Tian, you're really a pervert, a monster. Tang San originally thought his heart was as still as water, but now seeing Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu exchanging glances, he felt inexplicably choked up. Tang San was silent. Tang San's defenses broke. Tang San attacked. Tang San continuously used the blue-silver grass to obstruct Zyro Tian's vision, while placing both hands on his 24 moonlit bridges. Mysterious jade hand. Instantly, Tang San retrieved silver needles, short daggers, and other hidden weapons from the spirit tool at an extremely fast speed, using the hand speed he had cultivated over years of being single, firing them from different angles towards Zyro Tian's front and two sides. He had to admit, Zyro Tian's sword intent was indeed very strong. That sharp sword intent could cut his blue-silver grass. But could it block his hidden weapons? However, Zyro Tian's next move directly shocked his eyes. Dozens of solidified small swords, formed by sword kai, appeared around Zyro Tian, easily deflecting all of Tang San's hidden weapons one by one. Tang San, holy crap, is Zyro Tian's spirit power limitless? He didn't know that Zyro Tian's first spirit ability, which amplified his spirit power, had already been activated, he just couldn't see it. Zyro Tian looked at Tang San, a hint of disappointment on his face. Is that all? Is that all? He had originally wanted to try the effect of the army word's secret controlling weapons, but Tang San's ordinary hidden weapons simply couldn't pique his interest. Tang San looked at Zyro Tian's disdainful gaze and immediately broke his defenses again. Gritting his teeth, the silent sleeve dart on his hands appeared. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, dwang. He had estimated the power of the silent sleeve dart. It could basically injure Spirit Master above level 20. Although he didn't know Zyro Tian's exact level, only a year had passed, and with his innate spirit power, his current strength definitely wouldn't exceed level 20. Zyro Tian's lips curled slightly. That's right, this is a bit more interesting. But unfortunately, using the army word's secret on such trashy hidden weapons seemed a bit unworthy of it. Never mind, I'll use another move. 15. Zyro Tian's eyes changed, his original laziness disappearing, replaced by sharpness. Zyro Tian held 15, and 15 emitted bursts of sword cries. 3 absolute sword kai. The power of this silent sleeve dart simply didn't require using 7 absolute sword kai. 3 absolute sword kai was enough. The terrifying sword kai directly bounced off the silent sleeve dart and went straight for Tang San. Tang San's pupils suddenly contracted, a voice in his heart constantly telling him that if he didn't dodge, he would definitely be severely injured. Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. By the skin of his teeth, Tang San luckily dodged Zyro Tian's attack. Zyro Tian wasn't surprised by this. After all, Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track had the title of No Attack That Cannot Be Dodged, Only a Kiss That Cannot Be Dodged. Zyro Wu looked at the handsome Zyro Tian, her heart surging with emotion, sighing inwardly that Zyro Tian's strength had grown stronger again. He was truly becoming more and more unfathomable. Tang San, you've lost again. Zyro Tian said indifferently. Tang San's face was filled with unwillingness, but he knew that continuing the fight now was meaningless. Holy crap, host actually defeated the god King Tang San who used hidden weapons. This is like a cow flying a plane, awesome. Triggering a critical reward, 2000-year Sky Spirit Sword Wings External Spirit Bone. Zyro Tian. Holy crap. System. I am your father. Zyro Tian didn't even know how long it had been since he received a critical reward. Several times, it had all been ordinary rewards. This was one of the reasons why Zyro Tian had felt unmotivated facing Tang San's attacks earlier. The reason he was willing to keep sparring with Tang San was all to get system rewards. Otherwise, why wouldn't he use that time for cultivation? This time, he rediscovered that the system had given Tang San an additional definition, Tang San who used hidden weapons. In other words, as long as he defeated Tang San for the first time, shocking the system, it should trigger a critical reward. Now, Tang San's spirit power had also increased to level 16 under his pressure over the past year. If, when Tang San obtained his second spirit ring, and he defeated him, a spirit grandmaster, would he receive a critical reward? This was a guess Zyro Tian had in his heart now. He now desperately hoped that Tang San would quickly raise his spirit power to level 20. Instantly, Tang San felt a chill down his spine again. He had felt this way a year ago when Zyro Tian looked at him with shining eyes, and in the subsequent times, he had been severely abused, several times even unable to get out of bed. Tang San felt his skin instantly stiffen, and he slowly looked at Zyro Tian. It's over. Chapter 22 Zyro Tian, hee don't worry, I will be gentle. Is Zyro Tian going crazy again? Now that his emotions are down, can he say that it was just his momentary impulse? He's being honest now, can he be forgiven? A premonition of ill omen immediately rose in his heart. Zyro Tian put away his sword 15, walked over with a smile, and patted the dust off Tang San's body. Tang San, although you lost to me this time, you must not be discouraged. After a few days when we return to the academy, I can sacrifice a little time to give you devil training until your spirit power reaches level 20. Zyro Tian subconsciously licked the corner of his mouth and chuckled. Tang San felt a chill rise from the bottom of his heart. Could he refuse? He felt that Zyro Tian in this state was truly terrifying. Zyro Wu also had the same feeling and was furtively moving aside, trying to lower her presence to the minimum, hoping Zyro Tian would forget her existence. Zyro Wu's you too, don't worry, I'll be very gentle. Zyro Wu's cultivation was a bit higher than Tang San's. In 1 year, she had already reached level 18. Zyro Wu showed a smile uglier than crying. She felt that Zyro Tian was a devil. Zyro Tian in this state completely lacked any pity for women. But for some reason, she felt a faint sense of anticipation in her heart, and she couldn't help but tighten her legs. Zyro Tian thought for a moment. Next, he also needed to slightly shift some focus to spirit power cultivation. In the past year, he had hardly deliberately sat cross-legged to cultivate spirit power, but rather increased his level by continuously tempering his sword intent and sparring with Zyro Wu and Tang San. The rest of the time, he was either practicing swordsmanship or practicing swordsmanship, so his current spirit power level was only 17. But Zyro Tian was not very concerned about this, because he had gained even more. In the past year, he had cultivated skills such as the Immortal Wind Cloud Body Technique and the Drunken Immortal Gazing at the Moon Step, given to him by the system, to perfection. Even the Army Word Secret felt very proficient to him. One must know that even Tang San, who possessed the memories of cultivating Tang sect unique skills in his previous life, spent more than 10 or 20 years in this life to cultivate those skills to perfection. The only regret was that in 1 year, he still hadn't activated the All-Word Secret. The probability of triggering the All-Word Secret was simply too low. Zyro Tian believed that he had been too smooth sailing and had not encountered too much pressure to stimulate his potential. If it were a critical moment, Zyro Tian believed he would definitely succeed in activating it. Zyro Tian shook his head, pushing this thought to the back of his mind for now. It is worth mentioning that the improvement of sword intent does help in the improvement of spirit power, somewhat similar to the effect of a mimetic cultivation environment, but this is a bit more advanced. Zyro Tian looked around the back mountain with some reluctance and said lightly, "Saint Spirit Village is really a good place. Let's go." Both thought Zyro Tian was praising the appearance of Saint Spirit Village, but in fact, Zyro Tian's words had a hidden meaning. It was good because there was 100,000-year spirit bone here, and also our yin. Although the blue-silver emperor right leg bone was not very suitable for him, its effect was also extremely heaven-defying. If he couldn't obtain a good spirit bone from the continent or the system later, the blue-silver emperor's leg bone would also be a good choice. A few days passed quickly. Zyro Tian and Zyro Wu stayed at Tang San's house for 1 night, then left early the next morning. The 3 went together to Craftsman's Soul Village, where Zyro Tian resided. The so-called Craftsman's Soul Village was actually a village with many blacksmiths, which aroused a bit of interest in Tang San, as he himself was a blacksmith, so he also wanted to go and see if the blacksmiths in Craftsman's Soul Village could teach him something. Of course, the most important thing was that Zyro Wu wanted to go with Zyro Tian, and he didn't want to go back alone, so he could only go along. As soon as they returned to Notting Academy, Zyro Tian was not in a hurry to absorb the external spirit bone given by the system, but rather waited a few days. Under the guise of sparring, he severely beat Tang San for several days. Finally, Tang San, with tears in his eyes and some bandages wrapped around his body, could only stay in room 7 to slowly recover from his injuries. Zyro Tian, you are now considered half my disciple, so how can you treat your senior brother like this, even injuring him severely? In room 7, Yu Zyrogang angrily pointed at Zyro Tian and questioned him. Zyro Tian helplessly waved his hand and said, "Grandmaster, I am helping Tang San cultivate. Look at Tang San's improvement speed this year. Without resources, it's already very fast, isn't it? You can't deny that, can you? Moreover, look, Zyro Wu lost in sparring and also had to be punished. I wasn't biased. Tang San not only has to cultivate every day, but also study theoretical knowledge and blacksmithing. I'm doing this for his own good." Now he can have more time to stay in room 7 and cultivate properly, hee hee. Tang San, lying on the bed, showed a bitter expression. Thank you very much. Yu Xiaorogang, seeing that he couldn't argue with Xiao Tian, pointed to the perfectly fine Xiao Wu next to him and said calmly, "Is this what you mean by not being biased? Why is little San lying down while Xiao Wu is standing?" Xiao Tian said without blushing, "That's because Xiao Wu is a girl, so a token punishment is enough. You can ask Tang San, he also agreed to this. Ask him, does he want Xiao Wu to be like him, lying on the bed like this?" Yu Xiaorogang, I'm tired, let's just destroy it. He didn't want to bother anymore, turned around, and left with a flick of his sleeves. Xiao Wu, seeing Xiao Tian's gaze, instinctively covered her behind with both hands and glared at Xiao Tian fiercely. Unfortunately, it had no destructive power at all. Word secret. You cultivate well otherwise, next time I'll make you like Tang San too. Xiao Tian said a harsh word, leaving Xiao Wu stunned in place, and then he also left the dormitory. A few seconds later, Xiao Wu's roar came from room 7. Xiao Tian, you bastard, you're not human, you pervert. Xiao Tian, what wonderful praise. Xiao Tian only said that to scare her, so she would stay in the academy and cultivate obediently, while he took this opportunity to leave the academy and find a hotel in the city. That's right, he was going to absorb the external spirit bone given by the system in the hotel. He had already been waiting impatiently. With Xiao Wu and Tang San both in the academy, he could temporarily escape Tang Hao's gaze and fully absorb the spirit bone. He wondered what kind of spirit ability this Sky Spirit Sword Wings external spirit bone would bring him. Chapter 23. The ethereal sword wings are attached with soul bones, the theory collapses. Inside the hotel room, Xiao Tian carefully took out the system-rewarded external spirit bone from his spirit tool. It was shaped like transparent, sword-like wings, with 3 pairs of feathers looking very sharp. System, please mask the surrounding aura for me later, don't let the spirit bone's aura leak out. After a simple instruction, Xiao Tian sat cross-legged on the bed and began to absorb the spirit bone.
Half an hour passed.
Xiao Tian opened his eyes, which gleamed with brilliance. This external spirit bone was truly a good thing. It instantly raised his spirit power by 2 levels, and he was now at level 19. The Sky Spirit Sword Wings external spirit bone currently brought Xiao Tian 2 spirit ability skills. Sword Wing Soar after use allows Xiao Tian to gain the ability to fly, increasing his movement speed to a certain extent. Sky Spirit Sword Kai, Xiao Tian can release Sword Kai to attack nearby enemies while flying. Strictly speaking, the first spirit ability skill was inherent, it was a wing spirit bone itself. In Xiao Tian's opinion, this did not count as a spirit ability skill, only the second, Sky Spirit Sword Kai, did. Xiao Tian came to a mirror and spread the Sky Spirit Sword wings behind him. The nearly transparent 3 pairs of wings looked very beautiful. Refer to Heibudong, changing the color a bit. Over the next year, Xiao Tian naturally did not let Tang San and Xiao Wu off the hook, subjecting them to devilish training together. The results were quite remarkable. Tang San finally raised his spirit power to level 20, and with the help of the Notting Academy's dean, obtained his 2nd spirit ring. Just like in the original work, it was a ghost vine. However, his speed was still the slowest among the 3. By this time, Xiao Tian was already at level 24, and Xiao Wu was at level 22. Xiao Tian did not go to the soul-hunting forest to hunt for his 2nd spirit ring. Instead, he directly absorbed the god-bestowed spirit ring given by the system. Fortunately, his 2nd spirit ability happened to be an attack power amplification, which perfectly met his requirements for a 2nd spirit ability. 2nd spirit ability, Sword Kai Surge after use, powerful Sword Kai attaches to the sword body, increasing attack power by 200%. Xiao Tian was very satisfied with this spirit ability. If he remembered correctly, Sword Douluo Chenzin's first spirit ability, Longsword Outburst, only increased attack power by 30%, while his increased it by 200%. But this was also normal. Chenzin's first spirit ring was a 100-year one, while his 2nd spirit ring was a 4,000-year one. Hey Xiao Tian, so what level are you exactly? Why can't I beat you even now, when I'm clearly the most talented among the 3 of us? Zyro Wu's small head was filled with great confusion. Tell me honestly, did your cultivation secretly increase to above level 20? Zyro Wu wrapped her two hands around Zyro Tian's arm and shook it continuously, trying to use coquetry to make Zyro Tian tell the truth. After 2 years of getting along, their relationship had become increasingly intimate. It was only because Tang San wasn't nearby right now, otherwise he would probably be grinding his back molars. Feeling the slight softness on his arm, Zyro Tian's old face also turned red, and he sighed inwardly. Zyro Wu hadn't eaten papaya and milk for nothing these past 2 years. Zyro Tian had a feeling of my daughter has grown up, hee. Zyro Wu looked at the slight blush on Zyro Tian's face, smiled slyly, and thought to herself that she still had some charm. Zyro Tian, Zyro Wu, do you want to see your face right now? It's as red as an apple. Zyro Tian didn't wait for Zyro Wu to finish speaking and directly counterattacked. No way. Zyro Wu gnashed her little silver teeth. Are you going to tell me or not? Looking at Zyro Wu, who was somewhat flustered, Zyro Tian also smiled slightly. After 2 years of groundwork, he actually felt it was almost time to speak, and now was just right. You guessed correctly. My spirit power level has indeed reached level 20, and it's even a bit higher than yours, already level 24. Zyro Wu was silent. Zyro Wu's eyes widened. Zyro Wu spoke. Zyro Tian, you're really not lying to me. Your strength has improved too fast, hasn't it? Faster than even me and Tang San, who have innate full spirit power. Zyro Wu's face was full of shock, and she had never seen Zyro Tian use a spirit ability before, otherwise she wouldn't have been so curious all this time. Zyro Tian said lightly, yes, my innate spirit power is not as good as yours, but do you still remember what I said before? Zyro Wu. What did he say? Why did she have no impression at all? Ow, it hurts. Zyro Wu covered her head and said, not understanding why Zyro Tian flicked her forehead. You have no impression at all. I said before that I was taking another path to improve my spirit power. It was then that Zyro Wu suddenly realized, you mean, you're speeding up your spirit power improvement by constantly tempering your sword intent. I originally thought you were just messing with me, but I didn't expect it to be true. Zyro Wu felt it was so magical. It was the first time she had heard of improving spirit power this way. However, Zyro Wu wasn't surprised by this, it was all within reason. No wonder Zyro Tian was either practicing his sword every day or on his way to practice his sword, even sleeping with his sword in his arms. At the time, she was full of questions, but now it all made sense, it all made perfect sense. The next moment, 2 purple spirit rings shimmered around Zyro Tian. As for the color of the spirit rings, he didn't intend to hide it. This might further stimulate Tang San's desire to strive. The faster Tang San improved, the more excited he would be. This was a walking experience point. Once his level reached 30, he could harvest another wave of leaks. Zyro Tian's guess from a year ago was correct. After both Tang San and Zyro Wu broke through to level 20, he couldn't wait to spar with them, and the result was as he expected. He triggered a critical reward. He once again obtained 2 god-bestowed spirit rings, which was why his second spirit ring was so extravagant. Directly using a god-bestowed one, he still had some left anyway. And at this moment, Tang San also happened to walk over, intending to call the 2 of them for dinner, but he saw this scene before him. He walked over with a shocked and solemn expression. Zyro Tian, what's going on with these spirit rings on you? Tang San felt his head buzzing. Why were both Zyro Tian's first and second spirit rings 1,000-year ones? According to the Grandmaster's theoretical limit for spirit rings, the first ring was around 400 years, and the second was around 800 years, but the spirit rings on Zyro Tian directly broke this theory. That's right, Zyro Tian did it on purpose. With the system's reminder, he already knew Tang San was approaching them. Hey. Zyro Tian said calmly, let's go to Grandmaster's office. It's not something that can be explained in a word or two. Haven't you 2 been very curious about my strength these past 2 years? I'll explain it all to you at once now. Chapter 24, The Black-Bellied Zyro Tian, you are sweating profusely, brother. Inside Yu Zyrogang's office. Yu Zyrogang's eyebrows were furrowed into a figure 8, and he looked confused and shocked. Zyro Tian, can you tell me what's going on now? Why has your strength improved so quickly, and why are your first 2 spirit rings from 1,000-year spirit beasts? Zyro Tian looked at Yu Zyrogang's eager expression, chuckled, and thought to himself that he had long wanted to trick Yu Zyrogang like this. So he feigned ignorance and said, Grandmaster, actually, this is all thanks to your guidance. Yu Zyrogang. What on earth? When did I ever guide you to absorb 2,000-year spirit rings? Why don't I know I'm that amazing? Boom! Tang San immediately turned his gaze to Yu Zyrogang, full of doubt. What did Zyro Tian mean by that? Could it be that his teacher had given Zyro Tian special tutoring, and he himself didn't know about it? As if sensing Tang San's faint gaze, Yu Zyrogang suddenly felt immense pressure and quickly said, Zyro Tian, stop playing games. When did I guide you to absorb 2,000-year spirit rings? Zyro Tian chuckled darkly to himself, then quickly explained on the surface. Grandmaster, Tang San, both of you have misunderstood. Grandmaster indeed didn't teach me to directly absorb 1,000-year spirit rings. This was my own doing. Phew, tilde. Hearing Zyro Tian say this, both of them inexplicably breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. Yu Zyrogang, that's right, you scared me to death. I almost thought Tang Hao was going to kill me. Tang San, that's more like it. He's the Grandmaster's only closed-door disciple. How could the Grandmaster give Zyro Tian special tutoring? But, Grandmaster, you did teach me how to better use Sword Kai and Sword Intent, didn't you? Do you remember what you said, that in daily life, one can try to cover their entire body with Sword Intent as much as possible, which is beneficial for one's comprehension of Sword Dao and can also increase one's strength? Yu Zyrogang, don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Did I say such a thing? He did give Zyro Tian some simple guidance, but since he wasn't a sword cultivator, he only briefly mentioned some of his own views mixed with some guesses, using Zyro Tian as an experiment to verify his theories. Perhaps he really did say that. Zyro Tian was just a 6-year-old child at the time. He couldn't possibly be so cunning as to deceive him now, could he? So, Yu Zyrogang could only bite the bullet and nod, showing a slightly stiff smile. Yes, I remember. And then, you're not going to say that's why you improved so quickly, are you? Tang San's face was expressionless at this moment, a complete poker face, as he looked at Zyro Tian and Yu Zyrogang, not knowing what he was thinking. Yes, Grandmaster, you're so smart. Yu Zyrogang. I followed your advice at the time, continuously releasing Sword Intent and covering my entire body with it in my daily life as much as possible. After a long time, I found that I truly had a deeper understanding of Sword Dao. Most importantly, I could feel my physical fitness constantly strengthening, and my spirit power cultivation speed also increased significantly. It seems that the improvement of Sword Intent helps the improvement of my spirit power. Zyro Tian said excitedly. So I dared to take the risk of directly absorbing 1,000-year spirit ring as my first one. But to be honest, it was also good luck. Originally, I just wanted to find a 300- or 400-year-old spirit beast to absorb, so I didn't ask the academy teachers for help at the time, because for a 100-year spirit beast, it shouldn't be a problem with my strength. But I was quite lucky. On the way, I encountered a dying silkworm-type spirit beast that had just reached 1,000 years. I remembered Grandmaster once saying that silkworm-type spirit beasts are generally very weak, and usually provide spirit abilities related to spirit power, so After Zyro Tian's explanation, the 3 people present were dumbfounded. Was there such a way to do things? At this moment, Yu Zyrogang was so bewildered by Zyro Tian's audacious move that he started to doubt his life. He had studied theories, researched for a lifetime, and it was his first time encountering such a situation. Did Sword Douluo Chenzin also cultivate this way? Yu Zyrogang had the thought of going to ask, but it was quickly suppressed. He estimated that Chenzin wouldn't even bother with him. Zyro Tian, why were you so impulsive back then? Even if silkworm-type spirit beasts are weak, a dying camel is still bigger than a horse. What if you failed? Weren't you afraid of exploding and dying? Tang San asked doubtfully, his eyes deep. He felt a bit unbalanced. Tang San, why is Zyro Tian so lucky to just happen to meet a dying silkworm-type spirit beast? Why didn't he just explode and die when absorbing his first spirit ring? Zyro Tian smiled harmlessly and said, Actually, I was quite confident. Didn't you say back then that you only took 1 minute to absorb your first spirit ring? Before absorbing the spirit ring, my physique should have been similar to yours, and after the body tempering through sword intent, I became even more confident. But speaking of it, I was indeed lucky. It took me most of the day to absorb that azure jade silkworm. I have to say, 1,000-year spirit beast is indeed not to be underestimated. After Zyro Tian said this, the resentment in Tang San's heart grew even stronger. Of course, it wasn't directed at Zyro Tian, but at Yu Zyrogang. Yu Zyrogang, as his teacher, had not performed a check on him before he absorbed his first spirit ring. Now he finally understood that he had been fully capable of absorbing a higher-year spirit beast back then. Even if he couldn't be as lucky as Zyro Tian to absorb a 1,000-year one, he could have absorbed one around 8 or 900 years, right? His second spirit ring came from a 600-year-old ghost vine, and when he absorbed it, it didn't take too long either. Now Tang San was filled with regret. Grandmaster, don't you often tell us that there's a theoretical limit to spirit ring absorption? The first spirit ring cannot exceed 423 years, and the second spirit ring cannot exceed 764 years. Zyro Wu's puzzled voice rang out. Holy crap! Zyro Tian couldn't help but praise Zyro Wu in his heart. What a great assist. And you, Zyro Tian, when you obtained your first spirit ring, why did you call us? Don't you know how dangerous that is? And you clearly knew that the first spirit ring could only be from a 100-year spirit beast. Why did you try so desperately for a 1,000-year one? Zyro Wu was truly a bit angry. Better safe than sorry. What if Zyro Tian was really unlucky and died? And absorbing a spirit ring alone, for most of the day, Zyro Wu felt it was a miracle that Zyro Tian wasn't discovered and eaten by other spirit beasts. Zyro Tian. Looking at the worried expression on Zyro Wu's face, Zyro Tian's heart also warmed slightly. But Yu Zyrogang's expression froze. Facing the gazes from the three of them, especially from his disciple Tang San, he was truly sweating profusely. Zyro Tian looked at Yu Zyrogang's expression at this moment, feeling incredibly pleased. Sweating, are we, buddy? For the past 2 years, to exploit him, Zyro Tian had endured Yu Zyrogang's occasional nagging about how to use a sword, and the most outrageous part was having to insist on running every day. Zyro Tian was completely speechless. What's the use of running anyway? Chapter 25. I don't have cow's blood, but I have inherited cow's will. Yu Zyrogang coughed twice before saying, Zyro Tian, you are an exception. Generally speaking, it's very difficult for ordinary spirit masters to absorb a 400-year spirit ring, let alone a 1,000-year spirit ring like you did. However, you really did give me a wake-up call. Among my 10 core competencies, I didn't mention the factor of physical constitution. That's because I believed that as mere children, you couldn't reach that level because even sect disciples couldn't. This last sentence was actually Yu Zyrogang explaining to Tang San. It wasn't that he didn't want Tang San to absorb a 1,000-year spirit ring, but Tang San's physique was somewhat beyond his expectations. And what could Tang San say? If he could, he would also want to try absorbing a higher-level spirit ring for his third spirit ring. He didn't want to fall too far behind Zyro Tian. The gap was just too big. Soon, 4 years passed, and Zyro Tian and the other two were finally about to graduate from Notting Academy. It's worth mentioning that during these 4 years, Zyro Tian, after his strength increased to level 30, bid farewell to Tang San and the others, claiming he was going out to obtain his third spirit ring. Originally, Yu Zyrogang, Zyro Wu, Tang San, and the others also wanted to follow, but Zyro Tian directly and unhesitatingly refused them all. He had a god-bestowed spirit ring given by the system, so he didn't need to hunt spirit beasts. He just wanted to use this opportunity to get away from Tang Hao and go to Saint Spirit Village. Many readers previously pointed out that Tang Hao wouldn't know any formations, so I'm changing it here _. Hey. Zyro Wu had secretly approached him, insisting on going together no matter what. Zyro Tian, helpless, could only say very sternly, I have something very important to do this time, but I must go alone. You must stay and watch Tang San. When you are honest with me, I will naturally tell you. Boom! This short sentence instantly made Zyro Wu's face gradually turn pale. Zyro Wu didn't understand what Zyro Tian meant by that sentence. Honest? What did she have to be honest about? In the few years they had been together, besides sleeping, they had basically spent all their time together. What could Zyro Tian not know? Then there was only one conclusion left. Zyro Tian had seen through her identity as a 100,000-year spirit beast in human form. This made Zyro Wu somewhat puzzled. Zyro Tian's strength clearly hadn't reached title Douluo, so why would he see through her? Zyro Wu released her hand, which was gripping Zyro Tian's sleeve. Zyro Tian also took this opportunity to leave Niuding City directly under the cover of night. The journey was calm and uneventful. Zyro Tian arrived at the back mountain of Saint Spirit Village very smoothly and found the box containing the 100,000-year blue-silver emperor right leg bone behind a rock. And in a damp cave on the back mountain, he found a blue-silver grass with golden patterns. Without thinking, this was the blue-silver emperor Yin. Unfortunately, after her sacrifice, she was now merely an ordinary 100-year blue-silver grass. Zyro Tian came to Yin's side and squatted down. Yin, you don't want to stay in this cold and damp cave your whole life, do you? Tang San and Tang Hao are both in Niuding City now and haven't returned for several years. How about I take you to reunite with them? Although Yin's main body was now only a 100-year blue-silver grass, her consciousness still existed. Seeing that Zyro Tian wanted to take her away, she immediately reacted intensely. She continuously used her blue-silver grass to wrap around Zyro Tian's hand, trying to stop his actions. Unfortunately, blue-silver grass is blue-silver grass. The current Yin had no offensive or controlling power whatsoever. However, to prevent Yin from causing trouble inside his spirit tool, Zyro Tian still warned her. Yin, you should have sensed it when I came to Saint Spirit Village with Tang San last time. I am now also Tang San's friend. By staying with me, you can always watch Tang San. Isn't that good? Moreover, aren't you curious about those unique techniques on Tang San? Do you really think he's a prodigy who learned those spirit abilities before awakening his spirit? That's impossible. Also, do you really think your sacrifice to Tang Hao back then was an accident? I have to say, you've lived for tens of thousands of years for nothing, only growing in body but not in mind. Boom! Yin's tiny head immediately felt like it was going to explode. Oh no, she didn't have a head now. No! Who exactly was this person? He seemed to know a lot about what happened back then, and the issues he pointed out about Tang San and Tang Hao immediately caused a stir in her heart. These two matters were things she didn't want to think about, but now they were directly brought up. Yin immediately fell silent, and the movements of the grass also stopped. She didn't feel any malice from Zyro Tian. Perhaps by staying by his side, she could know the truth. Zyro Tian saw Yin slightly sway towards him and knew that Yin had agreed. However, if Zyro Tian knew Yin's inner thoughts, he could only say, "You didn't even sense the malicious calculations from Tang Hao back then, so it would be strange if you sensed mine." Although he himself indeed had no malice, with the system, as long as time allowed, he could eventually reach the pinnacle. Instead of letting Yin disappear, why not let her rehumanize and become his wife? Although he didn't have Cao Cao's bloodline, he inherited Cao Cao's will. As for how to make Yin give up on Tang San and Tang Hao, this matter could only be slowly planned. Anyway, it was impossible for Yin to humanize so quickly. Ding, host has once again astonished this system, having directly subdued the Douluo star's core of life, the blue-silver Emperor Yin, triggering a critical reward. Congratulations to host for obtaining the method of using the Soul Spirit Contract, Equal Pact, and the spell, Shrinking the Ground to an Inch. Soul Spirit Contract, Equal Pact, can form a contract with a spirit beast. The spirit soul can provide spirit rings to the host, and the host's increase in strength will also drive the spirit soul's improvement. Furthermore, after the host's death, the contract with the spirit soul is automatically terminated. Shrinking the ground to an inch. After successful cultivation, it can greatly shorten spatial distances. Seemingly taking a small step, one can actually traverse extremely long distances, achieving rapid movement. Holy crap! Holy crap! Holy crap! The first soul spirit contract doesn't need to be said. It's an equal pact, beneficial to both parties. More importantly, the spirit master's death itself does not cause the spirit soul to die with them, preserving some rights for the spirit beast. However, forming a contract with a spirit beast is actually not an easy task. Ordinary spirit beasts need to reach 10,000 years of cultivation or more to possess some human-like thinking abilities. Most under 10,000 years are driven by instinctive killing, devouring, and upgrading. Unless one can find the co-lord of spirit beasts or powerful fierce beasts like Dai Tian, it's out of the question. That's it for today's chapter. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to AI Otaku Studio for more stories. Check out my other channel, Infinite Novel Audio, and I'll see you in the next chapter.